Welcome back to the one, the only Harbingers D&D campaign. Woo! We are so excited to be back here with you guys, to have you guys as the amazing audience, as well as to have our players back here to continue the story together. Um, Without further ado, I don't think there's any announcements. Oh, wait, there is. Our store changed. Um, it's really cool. It's actually on our website, rosemarypgstudios.com. So you just head there and go to rosemarypgstudios.com and go to the shop page, and you'll be able to find all sorts of Harbingers merch. We're still working on adding products and stuff like that, but there is some awesome merch out there. So just go and take a look. It's really cool. So, yeah, I think that's it for that. So, without further without further ado, we'll go into our recap of last session, but done by none other than Megan.
All right. So last session, we finally beat this worm. We finally beat it, guys. And in the process of doing so, Douse basically sold his soul to whatever or whoever is living inside his bracelet. Thus making him a subclass warlock, if I'm understanding that correctly. So with the help of said being in bracelet, the giant worm had regurgitated Nuri and Amaris, who sadly had passed. But we did get to see their experience in the afterlife, and we'll get to that in a bit. After the worm retreated, so technically it's not dead, it's still out there, but it retreated. It's probably scared of us now, which is a good thing. It'll try and avoid us. Those of us who were able to got together all the sand rays, sand mantas, majestic sand flaps. We're gonna call them that now. They got round them all up and took us to a safe spot where the worm cannot get us, hopefully. And in doing so, everyone is now trying to bring Amaris and Nuri back, to the point where Douse is praying so hard that he has legitimately buried his face in the sand. And then Amaris and Nuri, during all of that, are in the afterlife experiencing basically what Amaris saw when she was bringing Dane back.
AKA the hillside.
The hillside. I'm sorry, Scarlet E just said, "Safe, famous last words." So in the hillside, Nuri and Amaris were able to meet up, and they were even able to meet up with Nuri's biological and adoptive mom. So, they were able to experience that. Nuri was able to ask any questions that she had about the afterlife or the hillside or anything like that, gaining 20 research points. Woohoo! And while there, we did find out that Amaris's parents are still alive. So that is definitely going to be a quest of hers as she is on this adventure. And finishing up that whole encounter at the hillside, Nuri and Amaris look back to the light at the top of the hill leading back to life and seeing someone beckoning to them. And together they have gone back to the land of the living. And that is where we have left off.
So that is where we ended our session. Thank you for that, Megan. And with that, let's go ahead and dive right on in with where we left Dusty, Douse, and Merilla out in the sand. You guys are kind of parked by a kind of large rock plateau with a little plateau kind of on the top. All of your sand mantas are kind of, in a sense, parked by there. It's shallower sand. And with that, with Marilla Marilla was sitting over kind of by the bodies, right? Dusty was kneeling off to the side. Um, and Douse was also kind of off to the side there on your little, right by your little raised altar.
Yes. Are we starting saying that they've already woken up, or are we starting as they wake up?
Yeah, so everything that happened last session, and at once, Nuri and Amaris's eyes flick open, and they both like rise up with a gasp, just pulling in that first breath of air after being dead.
Oh gosh, they're awake! They're awake! Oh my gosh, you're awake! And then Nuri comes right up to, Merilla comes right up to Nuri, and her eyes, wrinkles beside her eyes kind of crinkle, and she's like, "Did that switch stay dead?" And she like flicks your forehead. Ow! My notebook. Where's my notebook?
Oh, Douse has transitioned from
Dusty has it.
His general praying of reverence to praying of gratitude. And he's still just sitting there with his head down, like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Fantastic.
Dusty, can I have my notebook?
You see Dusty, he's still kneeling. He's like looking up towards you. And like he doesn't say anything at all for a good couple seconds. High or low?
Low.
Already kicking it off. Okay.
I thought I'd speed run a high or low for this session. I thought I'd speed run it. So Dusty, he stands up from his kneeling position, and he just kind of he walks up to Nuri slowly, and he's kind of towers over her a little bit, but he just like reaches his arms down, and you're still laying down. You haven't technically gotten up yet, but he like reaches down and like puts his arms around Nuri and gives her a hug as he just like sits there for a second. He doesn't say anything. But he holds you for an uncomfortably long amount of time.
I returned the hug awkwardly because I'm like in an awkward sitting position.
Yep. And then after that, he pulls back and he says, "I'm glad you're back." As he reaches into his pack and he pulls out your notebook and hands it back to you.
I'm gonna take my notebook and be like, "Thank you so much for saving it. I have to take notes." I mean, you remember what happened. Oh yes. I took so it's not waking notes. Up like me. She's like almost disappointed, but she's way too happy that you guys are back or awake.
What is Douse doing?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I just had a question for the DM.
Yes.
What kind of resurrection was it? Like, are we back with 1 hit point?
You are back with 1 hit point, and you do have 2 levels of exhaustion.
It's a reincarnation. Okay. You're no longer your races.
Rip.
You've changed races.
Then my other question is, because I got scarring in the last battle, do I keep that scarring or is it gone?
Yes.
I keep it?
Yeah.
Cool. I now have these crazy burns you guys can like see like up my arm and shoulder and kind of on my neck too.
Douse is in bewilderment because of everything that has happened, and he's still processing the fact that he had just talked to a deity like not even 5-10 minutes ago.
Literally like 2 minutes ago.
Not just any deity either, like the one he worships. Junipass.
You will never forget. You'll believe.
Yeah.
No, he
Merilla.
won't.
Merilla's just like squat down right next to Amaris on the sled, and she's just like happily strumming on her lute now to Amaris. She's like, I didn't bring my ukulele over here, otherwise I'd pretend to actually do something.
Ah, that would have been awesome. High or low?
Who?
Merilla.
Hi. Is it for Merilla?
Yeah, it's for Merilla. What? I need a flatter surface. This isn't standing still.
Is it going all
Okay.
cockeyed?
No, it's more of just continually rolling around. But anyway, continuing on with the roll that I have gotten. You are sitting there happily strumming your lute. But you don't hear anything from Amaris. And when you look at her, you see that it looks like she's lost in thought. Like there's something else on her mind.
Merilla is going to note this because of her 17% passive insight. But she's gonna like keep going because like it's a happy occasion when you're ready to join with her, whatever way you do. She's yeah.
Yeah, Amaris isn't even gonna notice.
Dusty's also going to cast Good Berry twice and hand each of you 10 berries, which will heal you both for 10 hit points if you eat all of them.
Oh, Dusty, you're so thoughtful. Yes, eat up, eat up. It's good to eat food. Oh, by the way, how do these taste? Has Merle ever had one? I don't think Merle's ever had one.
Question. Maybe. She might have had one at some point.
I don't know if Merilla has.
I don't think so.
Probably not in that case.
She's definitely asking. Amaris, well, how does it taste?
Amaris is there once again. She's very much deep in thought as she's eating them, but then you ask the question and she just kind of like comes to. And it's just like, oh, have you ever tried cranberries?
Yes.
It
And
tastes
happy
like
with
that.
turkey? Yes. It tastes like food.
Well, I mean like actual cranberries, not the sauce or the juice or anything, like straight up cranberries.
Oh, right. Yes, yes. Okay, it's not a bad taste. Good.
Yeah,
I'm
and
glad
then
you
she just
remember
pops
what
another one
tastes
in her
like.
mouth.
So very important.
All right, so if you eat all 10, you are going to be at 11 hit points because you are at 1 currently with 2 levels of exhaustion still. The reason being of it not being more exhaustion is because a legit deity revived you. Oh my goodness, Douse, you owe so many people so much.
I do. Douse will stand up. He'll go over to both of them. He's okay. I do have to say real quick that. So we can talk about this later, but that what just happened was not free of costs, and I may need some help later on from you guys. But first, I have to know: did you see her?
I'm gonna look up for my notes and be like, see who?
Junipass, did you see her?
Who's Junipass?
It's the
Junipass
goddess.
is
She turned
she's the goddess.
dolphins, kids and dolphins. She made dolphins out of
Yes.
kids.
Yes,
They were falling
She
off that
did.
rainbow.
She's the goddess that I pray to, that I worship. I was somehow able to make contact with her and get you guys to come back, but I just need to know, did you get to meet her?
Not fully. We heard her. She was calling to us, but all we saw was a hand. Are you worshiping some kind of hand?
No. She's not a hand. She's a goddess, more than that. The fact that you didn't see more than that is probably due to... I mean, I wasn't there. I have no idea. But that alone is amazing. Sorry, I just had to be like, would you like to come testify in my next meeting with all my... But no, Douse is not going to say that.
Come speak in secret meeting.
He'll turn to Nuri like, when you're done making those notes, if I could read about it, that would be wonderful. Just
Read about it?
you meeting Junipass.
Oh, I can tell you right now what she said. I already took all my notes.
Oh, wonderful.
Let me see. This near
I
the
mean-
end. Well, the light switched to warm. Oh, the gray lands, dead lands, there's like 2 names for them. Super interesting, by the way. Because when you're dead, like there's the light at the top of the hill and it like literally is uncomfortable and kind of painful. But then the wall is super comforting and like inviting. But when Junipass showed up, the light became warm and inviting, so that was totally changed. The hand reached through the door, and she had said the choice to live or die is ours, pretty much. She might have said some other things, but that was all that really was important that she said. And the grass there has no taste, if you care to know.
What?
I'm not surprised at all you tried to eat the grass.
I did eat the grass.
Were you hungry there? Were you hungry there?
No, I wasn't hungry.
Oh, okay.
I just needed,
Okay.
I wanted to know if it tasted like it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Whatever. Nonetheless, thank you. Means a lot.
We should know he was on his knees straight for about like 10 minutes or something, but
And then she kind of gets like very quiet, and she's stopped. You
You can ignore her, and Douse is gonna like just shoot a stern look at Merilla and be
She's
like,
definitely done talking about you now. She kind of almost like turns into her little bag. She's like,
was there anybody there? Did it look like a place where someone could get lost?
In the Greylands?
Yeah, where you were.
I don't think someone could really get lost because there's only 2 destinations, the top of the hill or the wall. And some
Understand.
archways.
And some archways. There's more than one archway.
Oh yes, it just goes on from one direction, on for the other. But what
It doesn't
was really,
go around the hill that you could see.
did it twist around? I just imagined
So-
it going like this.
Yeah, so the hillside, like you can't go around the hill. It is like a hill that just goes straight shot in like either direction as far as the eye can see. So there's just the bottom of the hill and the top of the hill.
oh, so it's like a wide hill, like a
Yeah.
slope.
Yeah,
Okay.
slope. Yeah. So there's like the top of the hill where the light is, and then there's like a slope down, and then at the bottom of the hill is the Greylands, and separating the green pasture of the hill and the bottom of the hill that has all the dead stuff is a stone wall. and there's archways along the stone wall.
Okay.
Uh,
See, before I had
explained
this
this
one
all
picture,
to you.
and now I'm thinking about the wave to like Aslan's land. It's just as anyway. Sorry,
Yeah, it's kind of like that a little bit, but if it were like a hill.
the opposite direction. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dane, you were asking something?
yeah, I was going to ask how much of this is considered common knowledge, and how much of this would be new knowledge.
I would say so. The hillside itself, um, some people like will talk about the hillside. It's not like it's like generally most people have maybe heard about the hillside, like just in
Yeah,
passing.
because
So
I was just saying, I imagine not everybody has gone to revive someone, but it
exactly.
has. That's where I was like, well, how much is that has gone around? Kind of thought.
Yeah. It's not like widely talked about because it's it's not something that really because it's a very somber subject, death, right? But it also just like not a lot of people go to revive. Other times, like most of the people who would talk about the hillside would be people who had near death experiences, and got healing that they were able to like to the point where they died and then received healing so that they came back and they would be able to recount the hillside. So there's not like too much knowledge about the hillside, just a description kind of the hillside. So the
Yeah,
description
because
is common knowledge, but yeah.
that's where I was like, okay, because religiously speaking, afterlife and whatnot, I
Yeah.
imagine that would have made its way into there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. For religious stuff, people have their own belief as to what the Deadlands is and like what happens after that point. But commonly, people know the hillside as kind of like a middle area, gray area. I mean, if we were talking about like in our terms, almost like a purgatory or something like that, but not with the negative connotation or anything. It's just like it's a place
Limbo
where the souls, yeah, kind of like limbo, where the
and
soul
in
goes,
between.
yeah, the in between area, and there's a choice, either the land of the living or the land of the dead. But if you're like dying, like Nuri said, the light is harsh and painful and it hurts. So you don't want to go there if you're like dying, you know?
And these two just walked up the hill like nothing.
Yeah.
Well, it
And
was warm
because
at that point.
it was nice and inviting at that point.
point.
I have had a player Sierra cross the hillside into the light when it was very painful and bright before in a different campaign. So, and maybe
Spoiler.
one day you guys will figure out what that does, but there is a way that you can do it.
Hmm.
Quick, kill Douse.
Not
Try
20,
it.
not 20, not 20, not 20, not 20.
So after Nuri describes to you what it looks like using Emily's great description of it all.
Okay.
Like she had said that. She suddenly is like a little like science, knowledge. But instead it gets a little more somber and gets more of a serious look, almost like she's kind of troubled. But when you die, if there were people who cared for you, who are also dead, they'll like come to get you at the wall. But so, people came to get us, and they told us a bit about what's happening to the people in comas. They've been showing up at the wall, like Ami did. He was there. He was at the wall.
They saw him.
And they did see him.
Wow.
But he collapsed in pain and then vanished. And it's been happening to a lot of different people. And from what we can tell, every person who collapses in pain and then vanishes, they're all the people in comas. And that might only be if someone interfered in the process. I don't know. Maybe some people collapse in pain and just...
What about you two? You both died. You were definitely dead. 100%, if we're going to be scientific about it. But you're back and breathing and talking to us. So nothing tried to stop you. No,
Well-
I'm back.
Also, take into account how long they were dead. It wasn't really that long. It could be a matter of time.
Nuri, can I ask you a question about your son?
Yeah.
How long was he dead before you tried to bring him back? Because he was dead. He did die,
Yeah.
correct?
From what I understood at the time, I don't think he actually ever fully died. Maybe a few hours? I was unconscious for a long time. I don't really remember. It could have been a few minutes, it could have been a few hours. It wasn't that long though. It was definitely less than 24 hours. For sure.
Well, that gives us a ballpark.
And Dane was dead for 8 hours? 10? 11? Because we got her back within the 24-hour period and she was alive for some time after that monster got her. And you both were dead for 13 minutes? DM, help!
I would say like about an hour.
Okay. So, because we did have the travel time, and then the rescue time, and the prayer time, and then, yeah.
Yeah, it was roughly an hour.
So, well, hold up. So you said they struggled in pain. Trying not to metagame, trying to think this through. So, wait, did Nuri mention something getting them specifically, like something?
They already mentioned their possibility of an outside influence.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
And unconfirmed.
So, whatever this third party thing is, it has one big eye that surveys everything, and it missed you because you were there too briefly.
Well, are you talking about the Eye of Sauron?
This surveys everything, and it missed you.
It's just vroom, vroom.
Exactly. She doesn't
The
actually say the
all-powerful
one big
Eye
eye
of
part. She just
Sauron.
says, "You were there too short for whatever it was to have seen you."
I mean, this is a theory on my end as well. Because I know some magic doesn't work after a certain time period. We got really lucky with this case. And I mean, really lucky. I'm just gonna drive
in
that
every
point
facet.
in. Yes. So I don't know how much of this situation we could take as common, because this was also an exception to the rule.
Yes, we had no diamond.
No diamond, and goddesses usually don't get involved in these things.
They usually don't answer to novices. Merilla
Very
gives you a
much
look
so.
like there's something else, isn't there?
Douse,
We
how
were
did you
lucky.
get in contact with a goddess?
I tugged on a few strings
What strings?
that strings that I would not like to talk about at the moment.
At least he's honest about that.
He's just gonna give you a side eye, like, really?
He side eyes you back. Really?
Bombastic side eye. Douse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really gonna try not to pry. One day, of course, I will want this information because research. But all that aside, thank you for what you did to bring Amaris and I back. I very much appreciate that. So
Of
thank
course. Like I said, it was not free. I did promise the goddess that, one, you two were trustworthy, and two, that you would be able to help with these coma things. So I'm hoping with your research we could continue on that
you. I'm getting close.
line. Okay.
I'm starting to figure it out. I have some ideas. A library would be really great, but we're in a desert. That's fine.
Okay.
Dusty, you've been very quiet this whole time. Are you okay?
Dusty kind of he like, it seems like he was gonna nod, but he just kind of pauses for a second and he says, "We're alive."
That we are.
Did you see anyone while you were dead crossing the same path you did? You mentioned that people came to talk with you after you died. They came up to a archway. But did you see other people there?
Besides my mothers who had come, no.
Your mothers came for you?
Yes, I have a birth mother who I finally got to meet. That's pretty exciting.
That is very exciting. Wow.
Congrats.
That's cool.
By the way, I'm just so glad you're back, because I thought I'd have to bury a third mother. That would not have been exciting at all. So it's wonderful that you got to meet your mother.
Thank you. Even if Junipass hadn't come, I wasn't staying there, so it's fine. But yes, so there was my birth mother. She was there. And then there was also my adopted mother, who, by the way, do not tell anyone that she's my adopted mother.
So your mother, as far as they're concerned, is
Yes.
your mother. All right.
Is
Amaris
Nuri's
came
hand
to
over
you,
her
and your
mouth?
mother is your mother.
No.
Got it.
She's like, I said too much.
Look for the shadows.
Well, that reminds me, I need to pull up a different document.
Either way, Dusty says, it's good to have you guys back. We might want to get some better shelter set up. I can carve out an area inside of this rock side and work the earth around here to make it perhaps a little bit safer against a worm attack. It should be all right already, but I might be able to set up some extra precautions somehow.
Please do. I could definitely use a rest after that.
I see he nods.
Probably.
So he's going to turn and he's going to start using mold earth, the cantrip, to slowly whittle away at creating a sort of cave entrance. And if I know we had said last time that the area around was mostly like solidified, but he might even go out a little bit further and make it so it's more so.
Okay. Yeah. So you can do that, make it a little bit more solidified around. And you said you're like getting, you're like digging into the stone a little bit to make kind of
Yep.
like a little. Okay. So I'm gonna draw a little.
Drawing.
There. I'm gonna say that's your little cave here.
Cool.
Woo.
Mm.
There we go. Um. Okay.
What is Amaris doing?
Listening to the conversation and enjoying her berries.
She's like, I just woke up from death. Oh, goodness.
Oh, I can also make a campfire. Cool. With the create bonfire cantrip. I didn't realize I
have a story about that.
didn't realize I
What
was
if
so
we're-
useful in the wilderness. I have to keep concentration on it, so I have to keep recasting it every time it gets close to ending, but
Okay. So it takes you a couple hours, but you're able to create this little cave just as it's starting to get to be dusk. And you can create a bonfire in there, a little fire pit. Yeah. And it's dusk now.
I'll take first watch if you guys want to take a quick rest. I imagine you guys are kind of beaten and tired. And Dusty, you for sure
I'm
have been
perfectly
working for the
fine.
past couple
Literally
hours.
nothing happened to me.
Okay, you can take first
I
watch
think
then.
you should go rest. Yes, Amaris, will you keep watch with me? It's much better than having to wake up early or having to wake up and then go back to sleep.
Sure.
Okay. I'll take second watch.
Never mind. I'll take last watch.
Okay.
Gonna lay out my bedroll and get
I love
all
how
cozy.
Dusty never claims a watch.
He's
I'm always watching though.
Yeah, he is always watching, but no one's ever questioned him, and I love it.
Some of them know now why he doesn't.
That's true.
Everyone but Douse.
Everyone but Douse.
Well, technically, Amaris doesn't either.
Yeah.
Well, Amaris knows.
Yeah, she saw him. He said, I stayed
Oh,
up.
that's right. In the
and stuff.
alleyway, he did something, right?
Yeah.
Or was that not
In
that?
the town previous with the Jackalwares, he leaned up against the post, and that's how he rested for the entire night. Although Merilla probably doesn't know that he doesn't need sleep the same way.
Probably not. Like, she knows some things about her history, but she doesn't. She's not like a mechanical person. She only has a +1 in her intelligence, okay?
Yeah.
Well, I imagine she's human, or she's made of flesh and is an organism.
Theoretically. Unless your lore says
We're
otherwise.
talking about Dusty.
Oh yeah, well yeah, he's
I
different.
know about. I was teasing because you said that Merilla wasn't mechanical.
Oh yes.
Oh, I see. I meant mechanically minded. That's my bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. Can I have Dusty roll 1d20 for me?
Yes.
Oh, can
I am.
can Merilla talk with the Mars during her watch? Is that okay?
Oh yeah, totally. Let me just get the rolls out of the way first.
Here, wait. I gotta.
Only to
gotta
get
make it-
interrupted and their talk never happens.
Hopefully, you can hear the satisfying clickety clack. Let's hope. 13.
13. Okay. Okay. Let me look at some stuff here. Okay. Alrighty. And for the first watch, which is Merilla and Amaris, one of you gets to roll perception with advantage, since you're both on watch, just at the start. And then I'll let you
Oh.
guys go into.
This is like one of the few times when I think it's okay to metagame. Who has the higher perception?
I was just going to ask that.
I have a +7 to my perception.
I have a -1.
Okay, I'm rolling. With advantage, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Is it metagaming? If
Yeah.
you are able to know how perceptive they are.
That's a nat 20.
That is a nat 20.
Yeah.
You notice for a moment, you raise up and you see a bunch of giants playing on a screen and with dice and papers. No,
Looking down at you.
just kidding.
And one of them is mockingly talking like you.
And one of them is talking like you, and as you're saying the words, it's sounding.
She seems to know exactly what is on your mind.
Exactly.
Eyes pierces your very soul.
And then you go crazy. Crazier. No,
And
just
that
kidding.
is how the elf
Gain
became
1
a
point
god
of
in
insanity.
D&D.
Exactly. Well, throughout your watch, it passes harmlessly. Nothing happens, but you do perceive actually a really cute sight, guys. At one point during the watch, you'll see the baby manta just kind of like flop kind of like over on top of its mama, and then mama just kind of like scoops it in the sand up and slides it a little closer, and they just kind of look like they're snuggling. Um
Oh, those sand mantas are so cute. Don't you think, Amaris?
Yeah, they are pretty cute.
They're so cute. You know, Amaris, speaking of mantas and looking at them, I must admit, one of the reasons why I was sad that you were gone was because I had a couple questions for you.
I might have answers.
Even if you don't, it just means something to me to be able to ask them now. It is important to ask questions. You never know. People will be gone.
Right.
So you know, when we were with the sand pirates.
Her voice gets a little bit lower in case the ever watching Nuri is paying attention. Prius is asleep. But yeah,
except for
anyway.
Dusty.
She doesn't know though. We already established that.
You know, we were sailing with the sand pirates, and they told us that story about the mantas in the sea being ridden by ghosts. In the southeastern sea. What did you think of that story?
It was interesting. I have never really been one to believe in ghosts. Just because, like, if you die, you die.
Kind of like you just did.
Sorry.
Yes, but anyway. But I wonder if it was just something like a trick of the light. if you know what I'm getting at. Like how in the desert you would see mirages.
Yes, how the light reflects off of the waves and the sea
Something.
foam and the sea mist and stuff. Perhaps. Perhaps.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories about those seas. I grew up on them, actually, but I've never seen anything. Not even a sea monster, ever. There are lots of stories about those seas. And especially about... She looks back. The mists. Any reaction from Amaris when she says that?
There's a little bit of a shift in her expression as she's remembering what Nuri said. Like way back in session 1. We're going all the way back to session 1.
We are going back all the way to session 1.
That's a big jump.
That is a big jump. But she goes like that comes back to her mind and how Nuri was like panicking and basically demanding Amaris not to go back to the not to go to the mist. And like Amaris knows about the mist and all that, and she's like, what if it did have something to do with the mist?
She says that out loud?
Yeah. What if it does have something to do with the mist? What if the mist is holding souls? And then her face shifts again as another thing comes to her mind. What if those who are in comas, like Dane and Ami,
Yes.
their spirits disappeared? That's what we heard in the Greylands. What if there's something about the mist, or even, they just disappeared? What if there's something about the mist or something in the mist that is holding those souls captive?
Amaris, I know with your family, you must have traveled a lot, at least in these northern parts of, our continent of Collenberg. I've traveled a lot, both up and down, mainly though on the west coast.
I guess, sorry, it's the southwestern seas that all this stuff has been happening. My bad. Directions. But anyway.
So I have heard of these different coma stuff before, but merely only in passing in taverns and stuff like that. And I have heard people blame it on the mists, but people blame everything on the mists, Amaris. It's mysterious, and nobody really knows anything about them. So why not blame everything on them? But there's a story that we tell in my parts of Collenberg.
And she's going to actually point up at the sky, and she's going to trace out for you a constellation of... Oh, actually, I'm going to describe it to you. Sorry. She's going to trace a constellation.
You see up there, there's that one bright star, and then it goes up to another one, and it kind of branches out from that little bright star. Kind of like a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Emily knows where we're going.
Well, you see, where I come from, the Abesta Kingdom, remember, we have a story about a prince that lived in a very ancient country where the Abesta Kingdom, like in an ancestor, the Abesta Kingdom country as a whole. But it's been lost to time. It was so long ago. He was a proud prince, going after what he wanted, but he wasn't quite arrogant, as we say. And despite his station, he didn't really forget the people that were far beneath him. In fact, he paid attention to the common folk, ones like me. And it's because of this attention that he met his wife. It's not technically super important to the story, but I think it's fun. Whenever the story is told, we like to describe her, because, of course, why not? Her hair was golden, and some say it was the same kind of golden as the sweetest honey. And like that, she herself, her personality, was also like honey, and the people loved her, and the prince even more, for finding her worth in her sweet kindness. But, Amaris, happiness and laughter are not always meant to be. The prince's princess, the commoner that he married, caught a serious illness and she passed away. The prince, being proud, could not accept it, and could not accept it as a time to leave, her time to die. And he sought after a legend. And she points back up at the tree constellation that she already described. You see, Amaris, it's said that there is an ethereal tree that grows past the lands of the mists, where lost spirits are said to gather for a sanctuary. From what? That's a different story. But the prince hoped he might find her there, on this island with this tree. Well, we don't know it's an island. That's my own mental image. There's a tree somewhere, past the mist. And so he traveled over the sea in search of it. What happened? I mean, different people I've heard say different things throughout my travels. Some people believe that he did find the tree, past the mist, that he did find his love. Others say that he returned empty-handed and broken-hearted. But most of the people that I've heard tell the story agree that he was lost at sea, and everything and everyone with him, never seen again. Some people even blame her death for the fall of the ancient kingdom. But who really knows? But all stories come from somewhere. There is no fantasy without reality. Maybe there is a spot in the mists. Amaris, when we all first met together at the Goblin Camp, Nuri mentioned that you wanted, and I've been planning on asking this question, so Nuri mentioned that you wanted to go to the mists. Was that true?
No. It never was. I was never planning on going to the mist. It was just stupid rumors being spread.
Oh, I see.
Can I roll insight on that? So you good?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, can I roll insight
yeah,
on
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Do you mind, Lauren?
Sorry.
Sorry, I was writing down the
set it up
quote.
with the insight because Merilla is going to be like, what's her answer?
You know, I'm sorry.
Literally
It's okay.
I was reading Douse's message. It's just like, we'll find out the answer after the break.
Yeah, so it's a 23 on insight.
Oh boy. So yeah.
If you would like, yeah, I guess with that, just describe what you would think So
Yeah, so that is actually a really high roll. So you do notice that like Amaris answers just like, nope, it's just rumors. Like that's all she says. But you can tell there's maybe a bit more to it.
Does her body language speak to the positive, wanting to go, or to the negative? Like, yeah, it was just rumors and
Like it says, yes, it was just rumors. But like body language wise, it's like she just kind of like slumps a bit and just looks a bit more exhausted, maybe a little peeved.
Okay, would dejected be okay to say, or is that not right?
Dejected. I don't think so.
Okay. Cool.
I see. Rumors being spread. That doesn't sound like a fun time at all, Amaris. I am sorry. But truth be told, I was kind of hoping that might be a true one.
Amaris just kind of looks at you with a mixed feeling of very much confusion, but also what does that mean kind of look. Just like you were hoping that was true.
Yes, Amaris, I was. I was hoping it was true.
Why?
Amaris, you weren't there when I told the story about when I first woke up. Right? It was right after we had rescued Brandon and,
Oh my gosh.
Mary.
Tax
Oh, and Tax.
and Dane from the False Hydra, and for all accounts that we knew, you believed your sister Dane was dead, and you had gone upstairs for a long time, reasonably enough. So here's the story. When I first woke up, and it does answer your question. So the man I called father fished me out of the sea. So my first memory is waking up on the deck of his fishing boat, feeling the hardness of the deck below me and seeing the open sky above me. What I heard was the man I called father talking to me. And what I felt was sad. Something was missing. Something awfully important. The man I called father, seeing me, that I was awake, helped me to stand up on the deck. And once I could see the open sea, in the distance rolled the mists. And when I saw the mists, and every time after that, let me double check my document. All you filled. It's kind of hard to describe. Like, I felt whole again, but I also felt pain, like a longing, like there's one last piece of bread on the shelf, but your arms are already full, and you can't have it. It's the best bread in the world. My mother's bread. And Mom's still too full, and it's over there. I can't take it. Can't enjoy it. So, ever since I woke up, all of these 70 summers, I've been conscious of my existence as I am. I've always had a place I wanted to go. But no one wants to go close to the mists or the sea monsters and ghosts that you find, apparently, and all that stuff. It would be impossible to gather a crew. Nobody would give you a ship, knowing you wanted to sail there. Nobody would even put you in the station of captain if they thought you were going to endanger everybody with your silly ideas. So I've never been. I've been on many seas and fairly far out there, but never close enough. Never close enough, Amaris. So yes, if that answers your question, that is why I've always wanted to go to the mist.
You want to go because you feel like there's something there that you want, but it's out of reach.
Yes. I have no idea what it is.
Mars takes a mental note about that. I was always told the mist was a bad thing. So I never wanted to go there. Because like you said with that story, those who go don't come back. Like it might be
does make you
nice.
wonder, doesn't it? How could
Yes.
someone know about a tree past the lands of the mist? Are there lands past the mist? How could they know about it if nobody had ever returned?
It is curious. But even if there was, I can't go in that direction. If what people say is true about the mist being a death wish, then there's still some things here that I need to do and I need to figure out. I'm not going to the mist.
I am not asking you to go to the mists with me. Absolutely not. I've given up on that. I've given up on that. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I chose to retire up here in the north. It's not just because it's warmer, Amaris. It's because it's the furthest away from the mists. It's hard for me to look at the sea, even, or think about the sea, without being reminded of that pain and that comfort. If anything, it's just the mental drabblings of an old woman.
Well, I wouldn't say giving up on something you've been longing for is a good thing. I'm sure we can figure it out in a way that maybe none of us need to suffer, for lack of a better word.
That's very kind of you, Amaris, but even if we all went, this isn't enough people to captain a ship of that size. We need a
I
big
know.
ship to carry that type of voyage. It's all
I
right,
know.
Amaris. It's not something I have to have.
I was just saying, what if there was a way that we could figure it out without having to voyage to the mist? Finding something out here, like on land.
Well, I'm a bit confused. What are you not telling me, Amaris? Is there a way to travel over the sea on land?
I don't know. I was thinking more like maybe finding someone who does have experience with getting even just close to the mist. Not exactly in the mist, but close, that they might be able to feel something or see
But
something.
that's what the sand pirates did. The navy boat got too close. That's when they saw the ghosts riding the manta rays.
But what if we can find
That is my suspicion.
what if we can find more people who might have seen something similar? If we can gather as much information as we can, maybe we can take the pieces that we have found and put it together and see if we can uncover the truth.
But what? Thank you, Miles. It's very kind of you to speculate this out with me. Pass the time of our watch together. But, Morris, I've been awake with this longing for 70-some summers. I've tried everything. Those who do know, like the poor boy, the poor sand pirate, are too terrified. Him specifically to even talk anymore after seeing what he saw. I think what is much more important is discovering more about these coma patients and these resources that keep disappearing. That's what the next generations need. Not answers to my small personal mysteries.
Well, we can figure out as much as we can. Nuri has been studying the whole coma situation for, what, 3 years now?
Yes,
If
3
any-
years. I believe so.
If anyone's going to be able to figure it out, I am positive it is Nuri.
If anyone can figure it out, it is probably her. But this coma thing is so much more important.
I would agree. And not just
Maybe
because...
if I'm still alive, by the time this question is answered, maybe then we can think about it. I'm very glad for your kindness, Amaris. It's been nice to talk to somebody about this, especially the mists, and not get completely rebutted.
She nods and says, I just want to be helpful in any way that I can.
It shows. You're very thoughtful. And lately, very quiet. Is there something you would like to get off your chest, Amaris? She looks back. You know, if Nuri's not awake.
Well, when you look back, it looks like she is actually very sound asleep.
Looks like it?
Well, I mean, as much as an elf can be.
It seems like there's no
sleep.
traps there. I do think.
Amaris just shakes her head and she just says, I'm just still going through a lot with losing Dane.
Yes. Yes. But there is hope for Dane. Do you feel like there's hope for Dane, Amaris?
Yes.
Good.
It was even just something I was talking to Nuri about. I would much rather put my faith in this situation, put my faith about the situation in the hands of someone that I know than in someone that I have merely heard about. A tall tale.
Are you talking about the alchemist, Amaris?
Yeah. What if he's not real?
Well, what if it was a phony, a fake? He never actually did what they said he did.
Exactly.
It's very understandable. I support you.
That's why I trust Nuri with this. And I support her in any steps that she needs to take in order to figure this out.
Good. Yes. You know, Mars, when we were at the temple together, the second time we came to Dragondale, when I saw Dane, laying on that altar bed that they have, she really does not look dead. I think there's a lot of hope for her. It didn't even feel the way it does around a dead person. Which I mean, I guess I should explain that now. That sounds kind of weird, but you see, Mars, I told you before you sang your wonderful song to all of Dragondale the first night after learning that Dane was dead at the time, but now she's not. I told you that all my family was gone. Well, for most of them, except for one of the men I called brothers, I was present for all of the deaths. It might sound kind of weird, but in those moments when a person passes on, when they exhale their last breath, it's sad, yes. But at least in those cases where there was no violence involved, it's also rather sacred. It's a precious thing. There's a clarity that seems to tingle through the air. And it's very plain that whatever made them is no longer present in their forms that you can see with your eyes. Of course, Dana was in a temple and it is a sacred place, but that wasn't quite around her. So yes, I think there's a lot of hope. And
Mars
again, I am sorry. So sorry for questioning and all those things. I do still think that the dead should stay dead. But now that I'm learning more about this process, and that there's actually a choice at times whether to stay dead or not, and we'll see, in my opinion, if it changes or not. But just so you know, whenever I die, I want to stay dead. I have people I want to meet.
Amaris laughs a little, and she's like, I'll make sure to let Nuri know.
I have told her, just so you know, but it would be good to remind her, yes, please. Sarah's just losing it.
It's always so sad when the lore drops and Nori's not awake, because that means no notes are taken. Well, with that, you are realizing that you are pushing your watch a little longer than necessary.
Well, Amaris, by the shifting star's position, I should probably go to bed now. I don't mind talking to you. In fact, I like talking to you. I especially love it when you sing, as you already know. But yeah, who had second watch again? Who was the poor soul that has to wake up and then go back to sleep?
Dane. I mean, Douse.
Yeah, I think it's Douse.
Oh.
So Mars is
you
gonna
can wake him up if you want.
I mean, I
Actually,
was gonna say
maybe I
anything
should.
just in
That would be
case you guys
devious.
forgot, because
Well,
Douse is asleep.
yeah, here's how this is gonna go. Amaris like gets up and stretches because she's been sitting on a rock for who knows how many hours. And she's gonna go over to Dane and basically just like lightly kick him so that he's rolling all the way to the front of the cave.
Merilla is snickering.
So,
High or low? This will be whether that was hard enough to actually wake me up.
Hi.
Douse
Okay.
remains asleep at the bottom of the cave.
That was a low. So Douse stays asleep, unconscious and
Oh my-
unaware.
You see him not even get up. He kind of like rolls to the edge of the cave, to the opening, and he's just like, you still hear like one loud snore.
Well, he's at the mouth of the cave now. If he can figure out a way to have watch while asleep, fine by me.
I mean, after that sandworm, I don't really want to take any chances.
Merilla's gonna
You know
like
what?
hobble. What are you gonna do?
I was just gonna be like, you know what? True. And she's gonna go over and give like one last good kick to make sure he's awake.
Oh, duh.
Your turn.
Why? Okay. Why? He's gonna sit there in pain for a sec.
You volunteered, that's
And
why.
then he gets up. I was like, yeah, but you didn't have to kick me.
Look at where you're at, Douse. And she's kind of like calling this down from where she's up at.
I swear, I grew up out of sleepwalking, guys. I swear. Whatever.
High or low?
All right.
High or low?
Whoa.
Let's go high.
Is that two more? Is that two more high or low?
Yeah. I seriously need a flatter surface to do this on.
That's so funny.
I'm gonna do this. That's better. You said hi?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, dang it, this isn't the way that I wanted to answer. And
Then go with what you wanted to.
okay then. She's gonna be like, sure. Like she doesn't really believe you, and then goes to sleep.
Okay.
Alright. Well, alright, I'll go and take my position. He's gonna go outside and he's gonna sit on top of the rock. Or try to get on top of the rock so he can kind of watch all around.
Okay, roll an athletics check or acrobatics, whichever. Also, Greg, what are you drawing on the board?
My high or low counter for the
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do
session.
Oh, I love this.
Ooh.
Have you been keeping track of who's been saying hi? Is that what that is?
No, it's just this is just the general high or low. I should do that though. Next time I'll do that. I'll keep
I
track
love
of
that you're
both
keeping
the
track
highs
of
and the
this.
lows.
That's really funny.
That's a 21.
21. Okay, yeah, you can make it on top of the rock. No problem.
No, I'll just
right
be doing.
before Merilla goes back in, she's gonna do to Douse, good night, and she's gonna actually give him bardic inspiration with that. Because I don't know what's gonna happen.
Why, thank you. But yeah, he'll be up on the top and he'll light a torch so that he can kind of see as well.
Alrighty, lighting a torch on top of the plateau in the middle of the dark, dark desert. I like this. I like this.
Well, I mean,
This is just the DM trying to mess with you, okay? just,
Like,
just keep that in
logically
mind.
speaking, he can't see in the dark, so he needs the light.
Yeah, I
But he
know.
wants to see if things are trying to sneak up on us, so
Yeah,
he
of
needs to be in the
course.
top spot. So it's like,
Roll perception. And the bardic inspiration is a D6.
and I can decide after rolling when I use that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to use that because that is currently a 4.
Yes,
I
he
love
does have a
this.
passive perception of 17.
That is
But you're
an
inside the
11
cave.
That's true. I have a different perspective.
perception. So that is a 13 total.
13 total. Okay. All right. Awesome. So from on top of the rock, as of right now, you don't see anything. Nothing coming at you guys. So the light of your torch only reaches out about 60 feet in distance. So
That is 60 more feet than I had previously. Not really,
exactly.
but it's a good amount of light that I didn't have.
It is nice because it isn't quite a full moon, but there is a lot of moon up in the sky right now. It's been waxing the past couple nights. So there is light from the moon.
Okay.
Merilla
That's
just
good.
giving me the side eye. She's like,
Douse would also use this opportunity to just give his thanks to his bracelet and give it some more water.
oh, okay. What are you saying? What you doing?
Nothing big. He's just gonna be like, I know I owe you a lot, but thank you very much for what you did. And just start pouring.
I appreciate the drink.
Of
And the
course.
compliment. I mean,
I
I
understand.
do a lot of things for you.
Yes. And this is not anywhere in comparison to what you have done. So I definitely expect to be doing more, but this is out of just my things that I can show at the moment.
I appreciate that. Yes, and it's been very interesting watching the dynamic within your group, party, acquaintances. They definitely do love
We're
their
getting
drama.
there. They do. I still don't know what to do about the zombie situation, but I can't just let them die. So, I mean, they are good people. Misguided people sometimes, but good people nonetheless.
You know, I've often found that wisdom doesn't come from seeing one thing one way. It comes from seeing things in multiple perspectives. Like the tides
Well,
of the ocean. They don't go and travel in one direction.
you have a
They
point.
are all over.
You have a point, but it still doesn't sit right with me is all.
And that is your will, your decision. In reality,
Well,
it all is boiling down to your choices, your actions. Choice is a very powerful thing, I found. Very powerful indeed.
I mean, how can I argue with that when choices are what make up everything that we do?
Exactly. See, now you see the power in it. And that if you had the ability to control someone's choices, don't you see how powerful that would make you?
I don't exactly like what you're insinuating here, but all right.
I'm not insinuating a thing, I'm just saying the mere concept.
Of you trying to control someone's choices.
No, I'm saying the concept of controlling someone. I'm not saying that I would control someone. I don't flow that way. But I will say I do enjoy having a say over some of your choices.
Fair enough. And
You
you
don't.
have a say, that is for sure.
Mhm.
Well, I should be focusing on the surroundings.
Ah, yes, the dry, dry desert. So barren.
I've not been here before. I don't know what's out there. I need to be aware.
Douse,
Yes.
tip your decanter over the edge of the water, over the edge of the rock here. pour it out onto the ground.
Which direction are we talking?
Whichever. Not on top of the mantas.
Fair enough. Can I ask why beforehand?
No.
Well, I don't see any harm in this. All right. Just kind of pour it over the back.
Okay. You start pouring some water out of your decanter, and it kind of cascades over and starts like sinking into the sand around it, kind of making a little bit of like a soft, sandy, dark area on the ground. Um,
I mean, this is water I got for you anyways. And the rest of the group, but
it is endless. I do like this
yes,
little magic item that you do have.
it is a wonderful thing. I am
Mhm.
never getting rid of this.
Yes, it is quite wonderful. You see a little bit of water kind of like leak out of your bracelet, and kind of like follow onto where your hand is currently like pouring the decanter, and it goes and like kind of like trickles down into the water that's being poured out onto the ground.
Now, what are you doing here? This does not look like nothing.
Can't I enjoy the thrill of a good waterfall?
Fair enough, fair enough. That would be the end of my watch.
Yeah, your watch is now over. And after about 10 minutes of pouring, she will insist on continuing it um, until the end of your watch.
Fair enough.
And at that point, um, the water that was trickling down from your bracelet trickles back um, and brings itself back into the bracelet. And you can stop pouring the decanter, and she fades out of your mind.
Just kind of giving it a questioning look, and then I'd go in to wake up Nuri for her a watch.
Okay. You're kicking her awake.
No, just a gentle shake.
Thanks, because if you kicked me, man, I just died and came back. That would be so rude. I would go take my watch on top of the rock. Just climb on up there. Hello?
Athletics or acrobatics?
Wait, let me see if my exhaustion affects this, because otherwise she's not good.
Yes, you will be at like 1 level.
Well, the rest isn't over yet, so I'm still at 2 levels. Did they stack on my level? Am I at 3? No, I'm at 2. Just 2?
Yeah, you're at 2.
Okay.
Also, I'm loving the comments in the chat that I'm just now looking at the red flags and then the sus with Among Us symbols. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
They are pretty prime. Pretty prime.
Brian.
Level 2. That's terrible. Oh man, it is ability checks. Well, darn.
You just have disadvantage on them.
I'm not particularly better at either of them. Okay, we'll do athletics. I trust my strength more than I do my quickness. I'm gonna roll it in person. I no longer trust the online dice odds. And if I had advantage, that would have been amazing. But because it's disadvantage, it's 4.
4? Okay, you try to get up this wall, and you're just like, you put your hands up on the rock wall, and you like kind of sort of pull yourself, and you're just like, no, I have no energy for this.
I immediately like just sit down and hold my shoulder like, ow, because it's still like freshly destroyed.
Yeah.
So I'll just sit on the edge instead, kind of like nursing my arm a bit. You
High or
guys see
low?
anything? Oh, it's a high or low. High.
Oh, okay. I'll have to mark another mark up there, but here's the die roll. Very satisfying. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. You can keep going then. I'll mark off my high or low.
Yeah, I'll just take my watch. Do I need to roll for anything or?
Roll perception.
I will remind I have a passive perception of 20, but
Oh, no.
active perception.
You're
is good.
actively watching.
Plus you have disadvantage, so it has to reflect,
It's a dirty 20, but I could have had a natural 20.
Okay.
So it's
You're
still 20.
good at perception. Okay. All right, you're looking around and nothing seems amiss. Nothing seems, out of place. Is there anything you wanted to do on your watch or just watch and then be done?
She's just watching, rubbing her arm. Not really rubbing it, but kind of inspecting how bad the damage is, watching and contemplating, but that's it.
Okay. Alrighty. Um, you do not see any wet rock, unfortunately, because it was down the other side of the rock. But as you're sitting there, as your watch is nearing its end, and you see the sun kind of starting to rise up past the horizon, um, you look off to one side in the shadows, and it almost seems as if there's a figure there for a moment. And you kind of have to do like a double take, and it's gone.
So actually seeing a figure there, whether it was actually there or not, as a wake-up call to everyone, and also just because, I will actually immediately cast magic missile at the wall, like where the figure was, just immediately like
Okay. And there are 3 scorch marks in the wall, and you all wake up immediately to the presence of 3 blasts going against the rock wall, and 3 scorch marks left behind. Your watch has been your long rest has been completed.
Yes. So down to 1 exhaustion now, correct?
Yes. You and Amaris are down to
Yes.
1 exhaustion.
Nice. The spell slots, they return.
Nuri, what is it? Because we all woke up, right?
You all
Yup.
hear this and see the marks on the wall.
She's like
There's something
staring
there.
out the wall, and she's like, it's time to get up, everybody.
Is it? I mean, it's early morning, Nuri.
Actually, that's a better time to travel in the desert,
I guess that's a good point.
We should actually start traveling immediately. Much
Douse,
better idea. I do not want to be in the heat.
Were you afraid of the shadows? Is that why that's there? Looks kind of a bit darker there than other places.
No, I'm not afraid of shadows. That's ridiculous.
Why
Gonna
are
go
you always looking
outside.
at them then? You think the herald is going to get you? Your face. Do you really? Nuri?
Does
What?
Nuri's face drop?
Yeah. She was walking outside and stopped. Turns around. What do you mean about the heralder? Merilla.
You know, the creature that dwells in the shadows, that comes out to eat you if you're a naughty child. Dark-skinned, pointy-eared, glowing red eyes. Oh, was that the sound of a bell ringing that I heard?
Nuri's just gonna turn around slowly, kind of keeping an eye on Merilla still as she's like walking out. Suddenly, there's this feeling that she does not trust you at all as she walks outside. It's like
Ooh.
she was like, ah, da, 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 and now it's just like cold.
Oh,
It almost feels like it's radiating from her. Is this feeling of coldness?
Oh gosh, it seems I went too far.
And just for the audience, so the audience
And
knows.
she's gonna go roll up Nuri's bedroll.
Oh, okay. You're rolling up Nuri's bedroll as well. And just so the audience knows, because I know the audio kind of may have sounded a little garbled. Merilla mentioned the Heralder.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I kind of on my hand it sounded a little garbled, but I just wanted to clear. Okay. So after watching
Morning star
this,
tension's already high.
whoo, wow, Douse. Calling it
Douse
like
is
you
just
see
gonna
it.
Douse is just gonna get up, walk out, and start taking care of the mantas.
You may do so. And you can water them, and the baby's like happily coming up to you for some water and some pets.
Make like a tiny little pool for it to splash around in.
Oh, it's happy. It is so happy. Splashing around in the little tiny water pool.
Dusty comes up behind you and he starts helping with the animals as well. Making
Douse
sure they got
jumps
food.
and didn't hear you at all. Suddenly, Dusty's behind him. Ah! What'd you get there?
Dusty just shrugs.
Dude. I'm telling you, man. You are. I did not hear you coming up to me.
Yeah. Made sure the floor was nice and soft. So it was a little bit easier to walk on for y'all.
Much
Anyways,
appreciated.
let's get all these saddled up.
All right.
All right, roll animal handling. One of you guys can roll it with advantage because you're both helping.
I think Dusty has the better animal handling.
Yeah, 13.
You get them all saddled up. The baby's being a little restless, kind of like jumping around. She seems really happy and excited because of the water, so she's just like flapping everywhere.
Look at Dusty. I like this one. The little baby one. Start petting it.
Yep. Young animals are always full of a spark. It's fun to watch.
Douse, did you say you were still petting it?
I gave it a brief pet, but
Okay. When you pet it this like last time, like this little pet, you hear this like soft, like kind of like you feel like a little bit of like a vibration on it. A soft one, and you hear just like this like soft like purr like a cat, you know? Like it's almost like a vibration of like a purr, like a you know?
Mantas purr? Do they vibrate?
oh, sorry, I put my manta on vibrate.
It's like I don't know how else to describe like a cat purr, but it basically does like a cat purr. We kind of like feel like a little bit of vibration almost. At least on the cats that I've pet, but now I'm second guessing things.
No, you're
No,
good.
you're
You're
right.
good.
I think you're right.
Okay.
That wasn't the face or anything I was giving. It was more just like mantas purring. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it for the mantas, or is there something
No,
else?
that's it. Was there anything anyone
Dusty?
wanted to do? Oh,
Maybe. I don't know if Dusty wants to do this or not. So high or low, Douse. Maybe I'm just using high or low so I can write more things on my whiteboard. But
Low.
that's my secret. All right.
Let's get a mark under the low column.
I'll start counting the different highs versus lows. Let's see. Okay. I'll go ahead and mark it up on the column. Dusty does not do the thing I thought he might. So
Just have him do it. Do it.
that's not how high and low works.
Fine.
It made sense for my lore for him to or not to do it, so I had to check. And he doesn't. He doesn't do the
Dusty's-
thing.
Dusty's just standing there.
This is two things that he could have done that he's not doing. So
Dang. Okay. All right, Merilla, you were saying something.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure before I did something else. So Merilla has her sleeping roll and all her stuff in her pack on her back. And she also has Nuri's sleeping roll stuff. She's gonna go over to Nuri and hand it over. On the way, she's gonna be like, oh my gosh, they are so cute to the land mantas. Like, Nuri hands you your sleeping roll.
Takes
I'm-
it and kind of sidesteps.
I'm very sorry for teasing you about the Heraldor. In my mind, it's just a bedtime story to tease little children into being good. But if it means something else to you, and she more prominently hands it over, I'm not going to tease you about it anymore. But I'm sorry.
I want to make an insight check on you.
Okay. Do it. Do it. Do it. I love it when people roll.
Merilla, the true BBEG.
Oh, secret.
What if?
16.
16? Okay. So you see something.
Are you teasing me or are you serious?
A secret alliance. Just kidding.
Okay, you see that she seems pretty embarrassed as she's handing you back the roll. Like it was a kind of like a prank. You're like, you can garner from this that it was kind of like a prank. Sort of a thing. She is curious. You can see in the way that there is almost kind of a little bit of a light behind her truly sorry expression. But she's holding it back because she is sorry and she recognizes. Well, that's too much explainable for an insight, but yeah. She seems to mean what she just said about being sorry. I might mention it again, but if you don't want the Herald mentioned at all, tell me now.
What are you
It won't be
doing here,
teasing.
Merilla?
Sorry, one more time.
What are you doing here? What are you doing up in this direction? Why did you leave the lower part of the continent?
To retire, I told you. It's like one of the very first things you learned about me, right? Sometime around we were burying the second mother. At the goblin camp. Well, I hope she wasn't a mother. I guess I just kind of count her one just in case.
That is what you said, but that is also when we first met. And also, please excuse my distrust right now, but you wouldn't be the first to lie in our party. Douse does it all
You're
the time.
absolutely correct.
Douse, you hear this.
Douse gets a like,
You know that blue boy all the time with his, no, you could do this, yeah, you guys keep doing that, and like this, like that.
I'm
You're dragging it out,
sorry.
Marla.
You guys ask
yes.
very personal
Glad you agree with me, and
questions.
that's all. At one point, yes. You were saying I would not be the first to lie in this group.
So was it really just to retire? Why not just do it down there? Why come all the way to the top of this continent? To a completely different area of weather that you are so used to.
Please? Because I've traveled up here before, never this far, never as far as Dragondale. Or sorry, I had to think my lore for a second. Or Steel Glen. But I've, entered that kingdom that I'm forgetting the name of. It starts with an O. What is
Akosha?
it? Akosha.
Yeah, you've probably been to the capital city, Sunshield, because that one's closer to the border.
Yeah. I've been closer to the border, but I guess that time, not I guess, but that time was more toward the fall. In the winter when it was cooler, but still warmer than down in the very southern parts of the Abesta Kingdom or the Avalon Kingdom. So I didn't think it would be getting this hot, and certainly never did I intend to travel into the desert. I will tell you the truth, Nuri. There are lots of things I wanted to leave behind. You lived for just about as long as I've been awake, right, Nuri? 60-some years? 60-some seasons or whatever type.
Yes.
And you have your regrets, right?
Plenty.
They tend to accumulate the more you get older. But unlike you, Nuri, I'm running out of time. And I thought I might have some in peace if I traveled north. But here I am. She kind of I don't know, chuckles to herself. I don't know what has happened.
I'm gonna roll for insight.
All the insight.
Okay, what is this insight on specifically?
Your story of wanting to leave regrets and just the honesty that you were actually just living up
What do
here.
you think? Just start asking questions.
Is Douse becoming aware of their contention between these
yeah,
two?
they're you guys are all kind of out front. It's very public.
Yeah.
I don't think
Okay.
there's contention. We're just talking, but
There's a little contention.
There's tension, but not contention.
Yeah, there's definitely tension.
And that makes sense. That's my opinion.
Well, con is Spanish with, so there's with tension.
Contención.
Is it really? Wow, English.
Contención.
For insight, I got an 18.
I don't know if that's actually
An 18?
where the word comes from. I highly doubt.
Okay, as she mentions leaving regrets behind. Wait, did you take the roll from her or not yet?
I rolled 18.
I mean, did you take the sleeping roll from her or not yet?
Oh, she did, yes.
Okay.
She took it, and I was kind of actually sitting on the ground.
Okay.
And she has one hand on her hip, and her other hand is behind her leg.
Like her picture?
Kind of.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Kind of.
Gotcha. She has the pose going. Okay, so
Pose go.
As she mentions leaving behind her regrets. I've been wondering when I could use this. I'm going to use it now. Just for your 18. You can see that her shoulders kind of droop a little bit. And her skin seems to become drier than it should be. It's almost like it's flaking off. If you touched it, you maybe, I don't know 100 things, but you might start to think that if you touched her skin, it would just fall off of the flesh. And her wrinkles become like canyons in her face and her eyes sunken into her skull. You wonder if Merilla has aged like 50 years or something, way older than any human should ever be. But as she
Nuri-
says her next sentence, it's all gone. And she's back to Merilla with just shallow wrinkles that kind of crinkle slightly as she talks around her face.
Who's watching this conversation? Is
You're the
everyone
only one
watching?
that can see the front of her because
Dusty's got his head down.
Okay.
Everyone else is behind Merilla.
Douse is semi-watching because he's noticing a little bit of the raised.
Well, also his name was
tension.
literally said in the conversation, or like
It was.
Yeah, but he's also behind Merilla, so
Yes, he is.
You would just notice there's some shifting in Nuri as you've been talking. She seems slightly more like angled away. These regrets of yours, did they include anyone that tended to wear a lot of blue or white?
At that, Douse looks down.
Where? Not is.
Will. Is that a regret though? Hold up, I have to sift through stuff in my brain.
Memories, thoughts.
Yeah, not even my memories, like Marilla's memories.
Mm-hmm.
Tended to wear a lot of blue or white. Blue?
I'm gonna roll for insight.
There was a friend of mine, older than I was. Did you overhear part of that story I was telling Amaris about why I drink milk instead of alcohol?
No, I don't believe so.
I think she was drunk at the time.
Yes.
Yes, she was. Yeah, the whole
Nuri
time.
was very drunk.
Oh wait, but then she was awake because Merilla reiterated the story to Tax's dad, and that was
This
the
is
first
true.
story that she told before all the rest of the stories on her ways back to Dragondale. Right? I'm pretty sure she did that, or like she gave a. It was
I do remember you telling Tax's dad as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if Nuri was paying attention, then yes.
Okay, super brief synopsis. There is a cleric that Merilla met her very first time. She like intentionally went to a bar to drink alcohol. And there's this cleric there that had a tankard of milk. And Merilla's like, oh, what the heck is that? Well, like, why are you doing that? And the cleric tells her a story about how he used to be a drunkard and it like literally ruined his family's life. And he was a horrible husband and father to his children because of how he acted under the influence. And how I forget what it was in the story, even though it's my story, that then he changed, he became a cleric, and so now being a man of the cloth and recognizing that that's his Achilles heel, if you will, in our world terms, no longer drinks alcohol. And so Merilla is like, wow, that's a really cool story. You know what? I'm going to do the same thing. I can honor this guy. So, and that cleric told the story about why I don't drink alcohol either. He wore a lot of white, and he was a dear friend of mine.
Was he an elf?
No, I've never really been friends with an elf before.
I'm gonna roll for insight.
I mean, you
How
don't
many
see very
insight
many
rolls?
of
This is
them.
number 4.
This is beautiful. I love it.
I love this. I love this so much. I want an insight
Um,
roll tally. I'm trying to tally this.
Wait,
All
what was
right,
your roll?
Greg, thank you.
9.
9? How can you tell from a 9?
I mean, she could also just not tell anything.
It could just be what I think is what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you think is what you think, as she does continue on to say. You don't really see very many of them. Your kind tends to sort of keep to themselves for the most part. And I've seen them on taverns, and I've, spoken to them a little bit. When I overhear their conversations, I just chime in if I think something's interesting. But friends? No, not really. Passing acquaintances.
Douse would walk over and be like, listen, from what I've gathered, those are at Merilla, I'm assuming you have said something that has offended, looks at Nuri, you. Is this correct?
I'm not offended. I'm suspicious.
There's a
Suspicious.
difference.
We all make mistakes, Nuri. I myself would make them. Merilla definitely says some things that can be taken one way or another. But it's hot enough outside as it is. We don't need a third-degree burn here on Merilla. Can you forgive her for whatever she said?
I don't need to forgive Nuri. And Douse, I think
No,
we're getting
that-
to that.
I
I
was
think we're
asking- I
applying
was
the
asking-
salve. I think you
I was
should
asking-
step
I was
aside.
asking Nuri to forgive you, Merilla.
You said my name, sorry.
Yes, I should have clarified that I was looking at Nuri when I had said that.
I will have, what's your passive perception?
My passive perception?
Mm-hmm.
12.
Okay. You don't notice anything too much, but when you say all this, Nuri kind of looks around a bit, almost like she's weighing her odds. She kind of leans in. Merilla, I don't know who or what you are, but believe me, I will not hesitate to kill anyone that puts my family in danger. So be careful what you do and say, because there's a reason I don't get along with people from where you're from.
From
I'm
where
gonna just,
from where Marilla's from?
Mhm.
Sorry, there's added noise in my vicinity.
Okay, from where Marilla's from. And then she's just gonna
That's right, the
Look
south. Marilla kind of
to-
says to herself.
Douse to Merilla. She picks up her bag, and at this moment you would notice that she had a knife in her hand, her other hand behind her leg, that she then sheathes and walks away.
Marilla
Keeping
calls
an
out after her
eye,
because
like,
you can't pass
on
up a moment for Marilla not to call out after somebody. Just so you know, I'm also the
Douse
last
covers
person
her
who
mouth.
wants your family harmed.
Wait, what did you say?
Just so you
Douse
know,
Douse
I'm
covers
the
her mouth.
last person that wants your family harmed. One of the last persons. She's not expecting an answer, but she just says it after you. Are we still riding on the same mantis lid?
As Douse's hand like covers your mouth.
All right with Dusty.
No response from Nuri. She is like keeping a good distance away. Her eyes are kind of always keeping Merilla in view while not being
Merilla
close
stays
to
in
her.
view.
And she's like, she has her spell book, taking notes, watching you, glaring at you.
So
She's
what
just
is
giving off cold
Amaris,
vibes.
Douse, and Dusty doing at this point?
I mean, Douse was trying to keep Merilla from making things worse.
But Nuri escalated things.
Mayhaps.
He has to pick the smaller person because he is small.
Yes, that's the only mouth he can reach.
My gosh.
During all this, Amaris is packing up her bedding stuff. But as Nuri is definitely sounding more suspicious and agitated, and especially when it's like, Merilla, who are you? What are you doing up here? Like all that. She's just gonna be like, what the frick happened in that conversation?
Marilla's wondering that too. Like, where is this coming from? Why?
Someone needs to answer some questions.
Dusty's
Everyone
just
needs
been
to
keeping
answer.
his head down. Just helping out with the mantas, making sure they're all saddled up, making sure they're fed, you know.
You know not to
Just-
mess with women.
He's staying out of that. He's like, no thanks, actually. Maybe later.
Douse is still young and naive. He doesn't know that.
Oh my goodness. Alrighty. Well, with that, you finished saddling up all the mantas. What is the arrangement on the sled?
I think
Douse
for
is going.
starters,
Hmm?
sorry. I think for starters, it's going to be Amaris and Nuri on one of them.
Can Amaris or Nori drive?
Marilla's gonna go with Dusty.
Amaris can.
Okay.
I cannot.
Still taking notes.
Marilla's with Dusty. Douse is by himself.
Douse would offer to let one of the two join him if they need to avoid. He'd offer to Nuri since Merilla is already with Dusty. Like you and Amaris, if you need someone to drive for you, you can hop onto my wagon.
What are you
I
gonna do with the
understand.
third one?
All right.
That's to carry the food,
Yeah,
the animal food.
that's right. Amaris, were you driving one of them already
Yeah.
previously? Okay, he had completely spaced that fact. Or at least I did. But he would still offer, like, hey, if there is space on mine, if it is needed.
Personally, thank you for the offer, Douse, but I'll just ride with Amaris. I
Okay.
don't want to leave her alone, because we died. Yeah. I can't have two cousins dying on me permanently. That would be really messy at family reunions. So but thank you.
Yeah, I agree. That would be messy. I was just giving you under the situation of what happened this morning, I was giving you an option.
When you say this morning, her face kind of drops and you get kind of that cold vibe coming off of her again.
And like I said, like I've said before, there's some things that we don't need to touch on. I apologize, and he walks away.
The tension is so thick you could cut a slice of cake with it. I want to see a tension cake. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Be careful what you wish for.
Oh no.
It'll be fine.
Alrighty. Okay, also, doesn't the goat from the bag of tricks just vanish after a certain amount of time?
On the
It's been
dawn
gone.
after it is created.
Oh, that's a lot longer than I expected.
So it has dawned.
It
Yes,
dawned on
and
it
so the
that
goat
it no
has
longer is alive.
perished. Poor goat is gone. Alrighty, Douse, I'm putting you with the mama and baby. Dusty, you've got Merilla. And then Amaris is driving with Nuri. Nope. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. Come on. Roll.
As she gets into the sled, Dusty, you know that Merilla underneath her breath is kind of muttering in worried tones about like,
What in the world did the pointy ear mean? What I am? She doesn't know what I am. Who I am? I've told her exactly who I am.
As she hops in the sled. Dusty doesn't really say much to it. He does take note of it. Like he turns his head towards Merilla, then he kind of turns back.
she doesn't notice that you notice her muttering under her breath to herself.
Dusty, in that case, he'll take the lead. He'll start heading towards, I guess, the camp. The Jack-Aware camp.
The 2 rocks place
Yeah.
thing.
Right
Yeah.
back into it. Wow.
You're heading towards the den?
Yep. That's where we gotta go. Everyone's
Alrighty.
got their spell slots. We have one point of exhaustion.
Yep.
It'll be fine. It'll be
Yeah.
fine. Tell you what,
Yeah.
it'll be
yeah.
fine.
It took me a second. I was like, what do you mean we have 1 point of it? Oh, right.
Nuri and
It'll
Amaris still
be
have a point of exhaustion.
fine.
They stayed up, and they also.
Alrighty. Well, you guys are traveling through the sand once again on the sleds behind, just sliding along the sand behind the mantas. Yes,
We gotta-
Merilla, I love the visual here, the visual aid.
Ought to keep a more careful eye out.
Okay.
Watching
The
maybe a
whole
little more
time.
cautiously.
Watching, surveying. Okay. Roll a perception check for me. Dusty.
All right. Oh, also
Does he get
Dusty.
advantage with all of us driving, or
I would just say, yeah, sure.
Because we're all watching. We're all
Yeah,
slightly
yeah.
traumatized.
Everyone's
Alright.
traumatized.
Everyone's traumatized. Also, Dusty is pretty much silent throughout the ride. And for perception, we rolled. I could have rolled that online, but I decided not to. 22.
22.
Maybe it was a
Alrighty.
good thing I rolled in person.
Okay. Dang, alrighty. Well, you guys continue traveling through the desert. Okay. Out in the open air, it starts to get really hot as the sun is just bearing down on you guys. It's about midday at this point. You've been traveling. You're tired, hungry, thirsty. It's hot. Probably got some sunburns. Well, everyone but Dusty.
Dusty doesn't burn?
Dusty starts rusting.
He starts rusting.
Ooh, that'd be a real problem.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah. More like his metal's just getting really hot. Don't
Mhm.
hug him for a little bit.
Gotta cool down
Merilla.
first. I have heat metal active on myself. Careful.
Basically. Are you guys going to stop at midday? You've been traveling for several hours.
I would
Yes.
suggest it.
Yeah,
Poor
Dusty
Merilla,
will.
she's hungry.
Okay. You guys don't find any big rocks or anything to camp by. It's just open sand.
Oh, good.
for miles on miles on miles on miles.
Oh, good. Dusty'll,
You
as
find a
we...
little cactus.
Oh, cool. We'll
Yeah.
camp out next to the cactus. That sounds sick.
Yeah.
Perfect for
Get a-
shade.
Yeah, exactly.
So true.
Dusty will start after getting out. Like he'll bring everyone to a slow, and he'll say, "All right, everyone, get some food and some water. I'll make a little area for us." And he's going to use mold earth around the area they're at to try and reduce the amount of hopefully give at least some protection from a sandworm attack is really what he's thinking about here. He just doesn't want to die.
It will be a little tricky, but you can kind of get a semblance of something.
Yes.
So
With his cantrip, basically he's able to, well, if we do it on a round, he's able to take about he can excavate an area of loose dirt like 5 that fits in a 5-foot cube and move it around, or he could even like compress it to make it so it's sturdier on an action, which is about 6
Okay.
seconds.
So yeah, so you can get a more sturdy area. So alrighty. You all pull off and you stop by this little prickly pear cactus. Not little, big.
Douse would go around and kind of top off everybody's canteen with water,
Okay.
as well as make sure the mantas have their fair share of food and water.
You can feed the mantas. Also your bracelet is warm. Really warm.
But I fed it just last night.
She's thirsty.
Yep. She's consistent.
Do we just? I'm trying to remember. Is my bracelet metal or is it leather? Did we decide on that?
Hey! We had a preview.
Preview of
Sorry,
a
that's
friend.
Megan's brother. Jumped into the
Oh,
frame for a hot second.
Nice. Oh, also remove your rations.
Yes.
Take off your ration bits.
Yep.
As for the bracelet, I thought it was like metal, but I think it's more of like leather cords with like shells and stuff, right? With a like a pendant made out of stone.
I thought it was metal.
I think we go with metal then, because I thought it was
Okay.
metal too, but
That's what we've been saying the whole time. Is it's
It
metal
is,
with a thing
That's
in
what I
it.
was like.
okay.
I had that brief moment of doubt where I was like, wait,
Yeah, and your doubt was triggering my doubt.
yes.
Okay, it was metal. It was metal.
Yeah. Douse will just start pouring water on his arm, be like, this thing burns. I didn't realize the sun makes metal this hot. And just start pouring water on his wrist.
That's just so funny if Dusty hears that.
Oh, he did. Kind of chuckles to himself a little bit.
Alrighty. Douse, the water that you're like dripping on your arm is like starting to get sucked into the bracelet. Like rapidly.
I mean, I'll try to hide it, but not like inconspicuously.
Okay, roll stealth for me. And
Give his
everyone
arms
else,
hot.
it'll just go by your passive perception.
Ooh. That is a 21.
Dang.
I
That's
missed by
awesome.
1 point.
I think Dusty's the only one who technically sees it.
17 is my passive perception.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I definitely did not see it.
Okay,
I
all
was
right.
busy like putting the sled
on its side, so it becomes its own shade.
Yeah, Dusty's like he's
Ooh, smart.
making the ground,
So she just completely misses it, which is really sad because I really want her to notice. I have plans.
This is like the most blatant in the open he has been with the fact that he's watering his bracelet to people, but he's like,
I guess it's just like everyone's like,
He just
wow,
has his bags.
he's so hot. Like he's used to the water.
I mean, he would also like eventually he'd start drenching himself as well. He's super hot.
Hmm. I mean, it's a decanter of endless water, so
Maybe spray the others as well to cool them down if they need it.
okay, Dusty seems excited.
No.
No.
He's not excited. I'm excited.
Oh.
I want everyone to get pranked.
Alrighty. Douse, who are you spraying first?
Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 people. I'll roll D4 and we'll see. 3. I am hitting Merilla first.
Oh no, I knew it. Ooh. Just because she's
Sorry.
not paying attention.
You're the third person in my in the lineup on my sketch or on the Zoom call.
Just be prepared for the consequences.
I mean, he's not gonna go like super hardcore on it, but just like a few drops on your head and just trying to get your attention.
Oh, it's just a few
And
drops
then-
on her head?
Yeah. If you wanted more, he'd go more, but he's not gonna just douse people. Even
By
though
her
he's-
spotlight is letter, she's
His
like, "Need it."
namesake.
She's kind of like look up and see that. Douse, what are you doing?
It's hot out. Would you like some water?
She kind of gets her canteen.
Since
And he
you're
just lets
free,
his thumb go, and he just lets all the decanter come out.
On her head?
Not too much, but yes.
Even though she held out her canteen?
You took too long.
It was literally less. Okay, whatever. Okay, so that happens. She's like, douse!
don't douse me with water. Well, the sand's gonna stick to me now.
Then you can wash it off later.
Where did you even get that thing?
At Miracle Michaels. I forget the guy's
magic
name.
store, yes, but
Miracle Michael.
needs to acquire it. Didn't you have something else before that?
Wring out her sleeves.
Yes? I traded it back for this because it's endless.
He just let you trade.
I mean, I had to trade a few other items for it, but yes,
Oh, so it wasn't even? It was an even trade?
it wasn't even trade. I've been
Inside.
using it this whole time.
Inside! Is that good? Okay. Roll insight.
Sure.
I'm honestly not even
Oh,
sure I
11.
remember what he even traded.
I
He
traded
did
a
it.
bag of holding.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
Is he really a bag of holding in addition? I thought he just went
Yeah.
and then the guy was sleeping. So he just literally just traded the items and then
No,
left.
the guy was awake. I had asked him if I could trade for it, and I was like, I have these items as well to go along with it. I think it should add up to the amount. And we agreed on it. It was a fair trade.
Marilla's still really inside. She
I
doesn't
mean-
know that.
You don't get anything about it because, I mean, Douse is fully convinced he got a fair trade. You may or may not know that.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
All right. Anything you
like,
would like to do on your
"Hmm."
break? Nah, bruh. Okay. All right. Saddle
Nuri
up.
is sorry, not Nuri. Merilla
Dusty's next.
is going to stay obviously in Nuri's view and not really bother her at all as she takes out her ration and breaks into it.
Okay. Alrighty. And Douse is Dusty.
Douse
Yep,
is
he does.
approaching Dusty. Dusty's been watching him, and he very much does not want to be splashed with water. And as as Douse approaches, Dusty he like looks over towards Douse and he like shakes his head.
I mean, the being busted, he'd be like, "You sure?" Like just kind of like,
He nods.
"All right," and then he
D- Douse, you
going
hear a
down the
voice in
line.
the back of your mind going, "Oh, this one's no fun, is he?"
Not entirely, but I mean, to each his own. Though I don't recall him ever drinking water. Yeah. And then
Hmm.
he'd go after Nuri.
Okay.
Are you trying to be sneaky about it or just going right up and asking or
Casual, like walking up casually. If you're going to take too long to respond, he will douse you.
are you asking or are you just walking up?
The same thing as Merilla. So walking
Just
up, if you
walking up.
notice him, he's gonna sprinkle a little bit on you if you don't notice him.
I'd say she notices you. She's pretty alert right now. Um she kind of like sets her notebook aside and unwraps her arm a bit. She has some wraps that she got at the store, which is revealing more of this burn that continues to go down her arm. And she just holds out her arm to you and kind of like pushes up her shoulder sleeve and is like, I'll take some.
Okay. And because you're answering promptly, he'll just do the arm. He won't go too far.
She nods gratefully to you and then casts some prestidigitation on herself and cleans herself up and then
Some
wraps herself
perspiration.
back up. Prestidigitation. It's a spell.
Yeah,
I
we
know.
got it. He's just whatever.
Okay.
And now
And then
Amaris.
Amaris, the last one.
How are you doing it with her?
Same as the others, just walking up casually. If you take notice, he will ask. If not, he will sprinkle a few drops, get your attention.
High or low?
High or low? Great.
Low. We got to even out that counter.
Even surface. She does not notice.
Okay, I
So-
get your attention with a few drops. And
She's
still
she's
holding the
ex-
decanter over your head with his thumb over the tip.
so she's exhausted. It's hot out. Like she's not thinking straight. I'm pretty sure she's seen you do it to everyone else, but she was like she's completely out of it. So just a few drops like drip on her and she just jumps and it's just like, oh my gosh.
Did you want some water? It's hot out.
Sure.
Awesome. And he like just lets it go all over your head.
And now her hair's all wet. Run.
You notice that as she says sure and you just douse her hair.
Have
You
your mind.
finish.
Like, he hasn't lowered it at all. So like, if you had paid attention enough, you would have realized his hand's still just over your head.
Well, as you do so, the little baby manta ray kind of like comes sliding through the sand on over and starts like kind of splashing next to you and Amaris, like in the water that's being sprayed down.
Oh, I feed into it, and I started just like throwing it at the manta ray as well, or the sand
Little
ray.
baby. Little, yeah, sorry, the little sand, or sorry, wait, land manta. Little land manta. Yeah, it's having fun playing in the water. Doesn't get a lot of water like that.
Greg,
Okay.
what were you talking so aggressively at?
I was just combining words. I figured out
Oh.
sand and manta makes sand-ta, which is kind of funny. But then, like, if you add land, sand, and manta, you can get sandlantis, which is pretty cool. And that's what I was excited about.
It looked like you were like aggressively saying
Secret
something.
city under the sand.
Yes.
Prince of
Sunk
Persia.
Yeah.
Anyway.
deep beneath the earth. It's a library.
You can get
Oh, that
ant,
too.
land,
Last Airbender.
if you do
Yeah.
ant, land, and mantis.
Nuri's gonna just like look up at the sky and be like, "We should really get going, guys."
All right. Last call for actual watering canteens. I won't douse you this time.
Don't trust you, liar.
And she rides the sled.
Amaris is gonna hold out her canteen.
Okay.
He filled up normally.
All right, you guys can fill all of your canteens. You hop back into your sleds and get started again. Back on the road. Now some of you drying off with the little breeze. As everything flies past.
Douse just revels in it. It's like, oh, this is, I miss it.
You're like, this is just amazing. Alrighty. Okay. So you guys continue to travel and travel and travel and travel. So travel. Sorry, I'm pulling up a map.
On the road
Hey.
again, on the road again. Here we
Alrighty.
go, on the road again.
Woo! Alrighty. Okay, gotta make sure. And as you come to, let me gotta organize this real quick. Sorry, organizing you guys on the new map real fast. Oh my gosh, my mouse hates me.
While we've been on the road, Nuri has been drawing in her notebook. 'Cause
Doodles.
she can't drive. So.
Doodles.
She's been drawing. She can also change the color of her quill. Top notch.
That's fancy.
Super fancy.
Alrighty.
Not in store.
Not in the store.
Not included.
That would
Just
be
just
really
a reminder for anyone in case they forgot, if they got excited.
Yes, Nuri's spellbook is in the store if people want it.
Notes not included.
Notes not
That too.
included.
No lore
You
is
can add your own
contained.
notes.
And there's fun
can-
mouse pads. I'm gonna get one of those soon.
You can write the lore of yourself, your own lore. That's
You would
incredible.
impersonate the science.
That's
Oh my gosh.
incredible.
We should make a notebook just called like the lore notebook and have all the lore.
But that's basically
Hello.
Nori's spellbooks, though.
From
Well, not Nori's
multiple
notebook, not
campaigns
spellbook.
as well.
Okay.
Oh wait, no.
Alright.
Just
We need a
random lore
notebook
from random
that has like all
campaigns.
like it's kind of like the index, and then we can have the theory book, which is all the like brainstorming.
I
Oh.
see. Okay.
The theory
quick
book
question.
just constantly changes.
Well,
Quick question for DM.
yes.
Because I died, I do not have my familiar anymore, correct?
Yes.
To resummon it. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yes. All the yeses. Okay. Alrighty. Well, You guys finally see the ruins around you as you guys finally make it there. To the ruins that you guys were told about. All these different columns and pillars of what looked to be an ancient city or settlement of some kind have been broken up and crumbled, and so much of it is just covered in sand at this point. That little bits, very few bits are peeking out of the sand. Um, but yes.
Well, this is fascinating. Do you think so, Dusty?
Kind of looks up at
Hmm.
you.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
Do you know anything about these ruins? Have you heard of them before?
Like looks around. I could make a history check.
Sure.
I'll give it a
What's
shot.
a history check? No.
What's a history check? Here. Oh, 18.
Okay.
With a -1, so I actually rolled a 19 on the die.
Trying to know how to word this for you. Okay. Alrighty. Dusty. Dusty, Dusty, Dusty. You've never been in this location yourself. And you didn't know necessarily about this settlement or about these ruins at all. But what you remember from things that your father told you, things that you've learned over the course of time, is you remember hearing about the scattering that happened. What did I say? 100 springs ago? 1,000 springs ago?
The scattering is 2,000.
2,000 springs ago. Yes. I was like, what was
It's in
the
the player.
number,
It's in our
guys?
player notes.
Yes, 2,000 springs ago. So, in the case of for the audience watching, we count in this world, they count years by like seasons and like days and stuff like that. It's all by season. So their terms of saying years is saying springs. So 2,000 springs ago was the scattering, where all of these giant, horrible, horrifying creatures um, were cast out of this world by the gods and sent to other realms, other planes. They're just basically gotten rid of. But you know that from what you've heard before that, in that time, those creatures ruled and would destroy settlements and cities, um, among some of them being the horrible, terrible dragons that plagued the land. Um, and you know that there are ruins that there are ruins that have been spotted and from time to time of these ancient civilizations that used to be here. And um, sometimes they can show as to how they were destroyed, but most of the time it's very difficult to tell. And especially in this area where it's predominantly covered and buried in sand, you wouldn't be able to tell what caused this specific city to fall. But you can assume that by the oldness of this stone and by the depth of which this is buried, that this is an ancient settlement from before the scattering.
Okay. Dusty looks around for a moment. All this kind of enters into his mind, and he says, well, I know that there's lots of ruins around the world from a long time ago. Ancient civilizations. Perhaps you've heard of the scattering. I recall a long time ago, these civilizations were kind of destroyed and mangled as massive creatures would sweep over them. I'm sure something similar happened to whatever this used to be. Not exactly sure
Massive
what
creatures
happened.
sweeping over civilizations
Yes,
before the scattering.
he
Like
nods.
what kind of creatures? Do you know? Or is it just...
Big ones. You can imagine the worm we fought would probably be considered small in comparison. We're talking strong enough to destroy an entire town off a whim.
It sounds kind of like a dragon.
He nods. Haven't ever met one in
Moving,
person, but
sweeping,
very possibly.
large amounts of power. I don't know. You know, Dusty. You remember my little brother Astor that I told you about?
Yes.
Just watching as we're passing on them.
He always wanted to ride a dragon.
Interesting wish. It's a dangerous
Very
creature
big
to be
wish.
riding, but I'm sure you could finagle your way to talking with one of them. They have their own language, you know.
Do they? I mean, it does figure. They're their own beings, just like the goblins have their own language. We have our own language.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if elves have their own language.
They do.
Do they?
Yes. Most of them speak common as well, but
I've never heard them speak it.
would you like to hear some?
Sure.
And he speaks to you in Elvish. He just kind of elaborates on a few points. Since we've kind of stopped, so anyone else who can speak Elvish would hear him. Cough, cough, probably Nuri and Amaris. But
I was hoping we were still going, but okay.
No, we've kind of begun.
Yeah, you guys have come to a stop.
Yeah, we've come to a stop, and
Okay.
he speaks. He basically says, "This is what Elven sounds like. You can see how pretty it is, and the flow structure. It's very different."
Hágalo pues.
Sí, pues sí.
Dusty, are you pulling my leg?
No?
You didn't say anything funny sounding. You just spoke.
Yeah. My father taught me.
I hope he taught you how to speak like everybody else. She's a little bit disappointed. You can tell.
Wait, did she just completely understand what he said?
Officially, he spoke Elvish. But
And Merilla said what she said.
oh, okay. He does kind of like cock his head up at that comment. Then I was thinking that was an out of game player error, but if it's an in-game thing, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty,
I mean, you can ask her and clarify.
yeah, Dusty kind of like cocks his head to the side and he says,
In English or Elvish?
in common,
Common.
he
Sorry.
says, he says, well, I was speaking Elvish, the Elven tongue.
And I was asking if you were pulling my leg, teasing me like the men I called brothers used to.
He's going to reply in Elvish, and he's going to say, I was not pulling your leg. This is Elvish. If you prefer, I can go a little further back if you'd like.
Dusty.
If you'd like to know what that sounds like.
Do you think
He's going to tilt his head a little further. He's going to speak in Sylvan. He's going to say, "Are you able to understand this?"
You're talking common. Yes, of course I understand what everybody else talks.
He's like, huh.
Now, to the onlooker, is she speaking common?
She is speaking common, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, how about this? He hops off the sand manta and he pulls out his quarterstaff and he sets it down in the sand and begins drawing characters in Elven. He writes down a word. The word is dragon in Elvish. He points to it and he says, "What does that say?"
Hold up, I need to remember some stuff.
Merilla, do you need me to message you?
Yes, I do need you to message me. I forgot. I'm pretty sure I wrote it down somewhere.
Important note.
Can she read what she understands? Or what she can hear?
So you wrote dragon, right?
Yep.
All right. Hold up 1 second. Do.
I just sent you a message.
I can't see the chat yet. Excellent. So she looks at the sand. And something seems different. And you hear "Oh, my friends."
In common?
Yes.
Hmm.
I think.
He like
Yeah, it is. It is.
Wait.
he looks
Did she
down at the
say-
word.
My friends, like in referring to the word she's reading.
You see her looking down at the sand at what Dusty wrote, and you hear from her lips, "Oh, my friends."
He looks down. He looks up at Merilla and he says, "That's not what it says."
Well, I didn't say anything, Dusty.
Okay,
leaves.
so hold on. I'm
He
sorry.
leaves.
At this, Amaris hears the "oh, my friends." So she goes over, sees it's written in Elvish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she goes over, sees what's written in the sand, and then like she speaks to you in Elvish. It's like none of your stated. So like, what are you doing?
Well, everyone's trying to claim their own different languages as Elvish.
Listen, Spanish is the definitive Elven language. I don't understand.
I need
And
practice.
Japanese will be Sylvan.
I was going to use Spanish as primordial, but okay.
Listen here.
I just need practice.
Just say any language, any other language, and just say what D&D language you're speaking, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she
Sorry, what did she
basically
say?
asked. She basically asked, "What are you doing?"
He replied. Dusty replies, "I'm trying to figure this out."
Figure what out? What is there to figure out?
Well,
Hi,
you're you're interacting
What'd you
weirdly
say?
with.
Like, actually, what'd you say?
Said what?
So Dusty, he walks over to one of the walls and he puts his hand up on the wall and he will cast mold earth on it to create some colors and shapes that appear in Elvish script as he puts up like a sentence on the wall. And it reads something like A long time ago, the desert was ruled by powerful creatures. We'll say that. And he puts that up on the wall. And he says, what about this? And he gestures to it for Merilla to look at.
It says, a long time ago in the desert, there lived some powerful creatures.
He nods.
Nuri, you can read that too, can't you? It's
What language is
it's just
it in?
what everybody else can read.
It's Elvish.
No,
Or
she's
Elven.
saying this to Merilla. What
Mer-
language is it in?
It's in common. Everybody speaks common.
Hey,
You also know Douse is technically the only one who doesn't know Elvish or Sylvan.
Douse. Douse, could you come here for a
Douse
moment?
is over there, like, packing things, kind of getting ready for this whole combat scenario we're about to go into.
Listen,
He's like,
this is very important.
What?
Can you read this?
More important than our life? No, of course not. That's Sylvan.
Elvin, bless you. But
You've all
It looks
combined
the same to
together,
me,
just like
okay?
the men I called brothers used to do.
see, this
I
is
like this
interesting,
prank.
Merilla. This is interesting, Merilla. Because
Merilla, real quick, just we've all been on different sleds. How could he have possibly talked to all of us at once to play some kind of prank on you?
Merilla casts message.
Well, like this, I guess.
So then Amaris is going to turn to Dusty. Dusty, can you cast message?
shakes his head.
She looks
mean,
back
if
at
I-
Nuri,
Merilla.
can you cast message?
If I tried.
Me?
Can you?
Then she
No.
casts it.
Do this spell? Sorry, I don't really know the names of them. I just do them.
Oh, he genuinely can't
No.
even learn message. Oh, okay.
Nuri, Merilla, you will notice that like all the coldness she has towards you has like completely dropped. And she has her notebook out and she seems to kind of be like circling you and like way closer than she's been all day. And it's just like,
Okay,
Yes, Nuri, I'm still me.
does
still have my-
anybody speak
What's
Dwarven here?
interesting? I
I
really
do.
don't like how far you're taking this.
Merilla, question. For science, I need to know.
For
Hold on.
science.
She switches to Dwarvish and she goes, what color is the sky? What color is the sky in Dwarvish?
All I'm hearing is.
Now that's interesting.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay. New test. He goes up to the wall. He puts up the
More
same
toil.
thing.
I think we have more
Puts up the
dwarves
same thing
for
on the
once.
wall, but
I'm
in
on
Dwarvish.
Douse's side.
And maybe just kind of like reading his body language, like
He
I love
puts up
how
the
Dane
looks
same
frozen.
thing in Dwarvish.
Douse is just trying to comprehend why everybody is talking about this when we're about to go and we should be figuring out our plan of attack.
Also, like half of what they're saying, you can't even understand.
Oh, about 75% of it, I imagine, because they're jumping between languages all the time.
Yeah.
So he puts up on the board the like this. He puts up on Dwarvish the same phrase. The desert there were giant creatures and whatever. Same phrase. He says, "Are you able to read this script?"
what is it in? Sorry.
Dwarvish.
It looks like you literally just took something and just hacked away at the rock.
Last question.
Is that supposed to be legible?
Last question.
Do people actually read that?
Last
Okay,
question.
I'm going to hold you to this, Dusty. Last question.
Yes, last question for me.
Because
Last
we have some
question.
important
I'm-
things going on.
Yes, no, I know. But look, he puts the same thing down in Sylvan underneath the Dwarvish. What about that?
Says a long time ago there were powerful
And, like-
creatures who lived in the desert.
Interesting.
Is it
Nuri.
supposed to be different?
This one is Elven, right? This is correct. I used grammar correctly. I've never
So
needed.
you said that one was Sylvan.
Well, the bottom one's
You did
Sylvan.
two.
He
You did three
gestures-
languages.
He
Oh,
gestures
okay.
to the Sylvan underneath. This is Sylvan on the bottom one.
Yes,
that is Sylvan.
that is Sylvan.
This is Elvish. This is
Yes.
and this is Dwarvish.
I thought
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I have one more question. I'm gonna switch to orc.
They're all the same
Last
to
from
me,
me.
except for the one where you're
We
just
can stop.
pretending it's right
Okay,
and
last
in the
from
middle.
you,
Nuri,
Douse.
guys, we are in enemy territory right now.
We are in
This
enemy
is
territory.
amazing that we can do this.
They're over the way. They're over the way. It'll be okay. We'll be fine.
Nuri
We'll be
That
fine.
doesn't mean a
responds.
patrol won't come by any second now.
Yes,
Nuri's
I
just
agree.
gonna-
We should hide. What are we doing with the mantas? Douse, what are we doing with the mantas? The only one speaking sense.
Merilla,
don't
Merilla,
know.
do you
I-
understand this? I'm gonna switch to orc and like, I don't see any scouts. Did you
Douse is
understand
going to
what I
use
said?
shape water
We're
and
gonna
just
go. We're
send
gonna beat up that
a
Chloe
blob
wherever
of water
she is.
over Nuri's mouth.
I want to come back out.
And drinks the water. Merilla,
Stop it!
Merilla, please. Do
Megan
you
just
understand
appears with
what
a
I'm
thing of
saying?
popcorn.
I'm gonna switch to orc again.
Feeding
and
some
say
to some of
stuff.
the. I'm feeding some to the land mantas too.
They're having fun. They're eating it.
All right, let's find a place for the mantas, Douse. I'll let Nuri handle the rest of this. And he pulls one of the land mantas.
Merilla is
We're gonna
going to
find a
follow
place.
you, Dusty, and the whole time she's like,
No, Nuri, no, I'm not. I'm not answering your silly questions. Man, it's like
do you
having the medical
understand?
brothers around again.
Merilla,
I say-
what am I speaking? Is it
We're
common?
taking care of the mantas because that's what we need to do.
But is it common or orcish? What are you hearing? As I'm like, and then I'm gonna switch to orcish.
she's
and
not
say some
paying
things.
attention. She's following Dusty.
She's following you and is just keeps doing this, switching from
She's
common
trying
to
to brush
orcish
you
to
off.
common.
No, I'm not answering any more silly questions.
Wow.
He does not stop.
Can I just
Doesn't
say, I
Stop
love
brushing you
how
off.
Porque
love
no
how-
quiere que hágalo. He says that in like all in primordial. He's just like, no me digas eso.
I think I'm starting to make Douse go insane. And that should be my job.
I love how I drop you guys in the ruins of an ancient civilization that people haven't uncovered in like centuries. And you're like, the languages though. The languages.
Listen. This is a lot less important than figuring out what the heck's going on with Merilla.
This is a good point to bring up, Emily.
All I wanted to know was a little bit about the cool old ruins. It's history. They're definitely older than I am, and that makes me feel better.
Yes.
But do you understand orcish?
She brushes you off again.
Is
All
it
right.
orcish I'm speaking right
Okay,
now?
wait. Pause real quick. What are we doing with the mantas exactly? Actually,
We're trying to figure it out.
Dusty's going to begin to. He's going to find some ruins, some ruinous shape that
You can
looks
find a
big enough
lot.
to store big enough to store mantas, like an old home that's broken down with like its walls, kind of like this area, like right here. He's gonna
with a little bit of shade, maybe.
yeah. So he's gonna begin like shaping earth to finish the house, like this. Is he able to
okay.
do something like that
Yeah,
with enough
yeah,
time?
We'll say yeah.
All right. That's what he kind of begins. He even
kinda
makes
put
like
them
like a nice little overhang for shade. You know,
You use mold earth to literally change
a house.
civilizations and
I imagine
mess.
this is like Minecraft style, right? Because it's like 5-foot cubes at a time.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just like
Approximately.
Minecraft. So Dusty's playing Minecraft, ruining ancient civilizations.
It's I'm
that-
fixing, not ruining. Fixing ancient civilization.
Tell that to an archaeologist.
It was
Yeah.
broken, and I'm just repairing what was broken.
Literally, the island of Crete. What the heck was that guy thinking?
I'm keeping the original walls up. Like the original architecture is still there. I'm just adding new architecture without damaging anything.
And
Like
the guy
pulling
who
pulling
was
up the sand.
reinstalling Crete painted everything
I imagine
ridiculously.
Dusty saying that as he's like, I'm not ruining anything, and all of a sudden, like a chunk of wall falls off as he's working on it.
Ah, brings it back up. He sticks it
Meanwhile,
on.
Marilla's with the
I can fix
mantas,
that.
just kind of like, petting them, just like making sure they like stay in the area.
Nuri is actually still
Yeah.
like right behind you with her notebook out. She has not stopped. And she's like, now in Orca, she's still like,
Can you hear
Demastheus.
me now?
She says it in
Yeah.
Orcish.
No, you quit the prank, all right? It's not funny anymore. It never was funny to begin with.
What do you think I'm pranking? Are you hearing common? This entire time? Have I been speaking
not-
common?
Telling you. I don't want to
Is it 'cause you're
feed
embarrassed?
energy for these pranks like Douse was with the water earlier.
I'll stop bugging you as soon as you tell me if to switch to Orcish, or if this is common I'm speaking right now.
Nuri, how about we make a deal? You survive this next fight, and I'll answer this question.
It's not a very fair one because I'm a wizard. Okay. I'm the most
And I'm a
likely to die
powerful
out of us.
sorceress.
You never get hurt in battle. So, again in Orcish, how do you suggest I survive this?
No, she doesn't stop you.
Does she understand Orcish now?
We'll
She
see,
said
you
in
don't know
Orcish.
that.
She's asking you in Orcish, like, how do you think I should survive this?
Nuri, it's going to be the deal I just proposed, or nothing.
In Orcish, she's like, and I'm trying to
You are
ask how
going
you
to
think I should do
survive
this.
next battle, or you're not going to get the answer to this question. And it's not true that I never get hurt in battle. The Goblin camp, I basically died.
Again in Orcish, I'm like, Odin.
She just blinks at you.
She switches to common, so I'm going to take that as a no. You do not understand Orcish. It's only Sylvan and Elven. She's going to take some notes and she will walk away. Taking notes.
Douse is gonna moment is like,
You don't know
time
that
and
for sure. You
time
better
and
survive.
place.
And Douse said time and place. Oh gosh. Okay, what are you doing?
All right, everybody, gather up. First things first. We
That
need
was
to
not the shortest I am, but I don't think you're in charge.
We're not, but I want to be on the same page this time. Last
That's a good
time
point. All right.
we killed a few people, and things got stressful for me, at least.
They attacked us.
They attacked us, but we were trying to be peaceful. Doesn't matter. I want us to be on the same page here.
Yes.
Our goal is to get Chloe, who is different for some reason, and nobody can beat her.
Yes.
Are we going in friendly or hostile?
I say we go in sneaky.
I think that makes
If
the most
caught,
sense.
friendly or hostile?
I'd probably say hostile, considering that this entire time we haven't seen the Valkyries, who I will remind you all is superior to us, and they came on this quest first. And there has
This is
been
true.
no trace of them.
This is also true. I was
You have
about
a
to
point.
joke so we could say, we're just going to the bathroom, but they're definitely not going to accept that.
Perhaps
They'd probably just tell us to go around the corner and then come back and get in the cage.
if we get
Exactly. So now
caught,
that you understand that this is dangerous, we should probably treat it like it is dangerous and not be all
Well,
buddy-buddy with
yes.
them.
We wanted to bargain with them last time. Are we trying to bargain with them now? If
Absolutely
that's
not.
the case,
He wants the
okay.
entire desert. I don't think we're going to talk her down from that.
No, but clearly our plans of attack last time were not the same. That's what I'm trying to fix this time. Our plans of action.
I think it would be best if we approached in a stealthy manner. If we did get caught, however, I don't know if we'll have the manpower to take down the entirety of the Jackalwares. We only have to make it to their leader. I suppose.
I
But
agree.
It's
that should
Chloe
be
we
our-
want to get rid of. She's the one that's making the Jackalwares go out beyond the natural order of
Yes.
things,
Yes,
whatever
but
that
how
meant.
would this even progress after she's gone? Theoretically, if it's anything at all like a monarchy, After the main ruler dies, perhaps the next in the bloodline would take over, and
She did use the term alpha, and it seemed like she fought her way or won her way to the top.
pack thing. Perhaps whoever takes out Chloe becomes the alpha. That's how it often works in the wilds.
It does make sense.
And also, go ahead.
I was just gonna add that as we are talking about this, we are actually where they said the lookouts are. And I haven't seen any, but they could be overhearing all of this right now.
That's a good point.
I
I'm gonna
think
look
after the
around.
whole prank you guys tried to pull, I think we're safe.
They probably would have come and tried to grab us by this point, unless they're
Yes.
just grabbing more and surrounding us. Might be good to check around us a little bit. How about that?
Merilla, it wasn't a prank. I look around.
Was
That
absolutely
subject is done for now.
It is starting to get later in the day, so it is starting to become more dusk.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Dusty,
will say I do think we should attack when it's not dark.
okay. That would give
If
us an
that's the case,
advantage
we are way too close for us to be making camp.
Yeah. We do have a little bit of time, a little bit of light left. But not a ton. I'll do
Well,
a
we
quick
are
lookout
pretty
and see
good,
what's
especially with me
see
on your
what's
team.
around.
But I don't think we're so skilled that we can navigate the whole place in the span of daylight time we have left.
Yeah.
The
So you
den is
suggest that we-
underground from what you know.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
So daylight's not going to matter too much.
Okay.
Now,
Dusty
We get to
is
Chloe.
going to look around a little bit. See if
are
he
we
can
looking
find
to
out.
understand what is going on here to get information, or are we looking to remove the head of this organization?
I thought the idea was to remove the head. That's the information we got from the head chuckaware.
Well,
Yes.
yes, but do we want to figure out what is going on, or do we want to just do? That's what I'm asking.
I think she told us what was going on.
Yes, perhaps
We heard
have
one side of the
sufficient.
story.
Chloe likes shiny things, and so she sends everybody out to get them for her and resources.
Okay. I was more of insinuating how they're sudden insurgents, how she got to the top. Because I thought
Well, she's
we were thinking
different.
there was more behind it, what made her different, but that's fine.
We'll find out when we get there.
So. Either way, let's approach cautiously. If any of us get down again, that will be quite difficult to handle.
It'll be very difficult to handle. We can't hide a body, even if it's unconscious. Very well, I know, I don't think. At least all the caves and taverns I've been in. So,
We can see, or like we're aware of the lookouts at the thing that we can see on the map, right?
Can you see?
Like especially where we were.
Whoops. I mean, technically they are too far away for you to see.
Okay.
I
Marilla's going to
am realizing that I neglected to move them off the map, but
Okay.
whatever.
Well, then
You see it
Marilla's
now,
gonna-
so
Oh, sorry. Well, then Marilla's gonna phrase it as
so what are we going to do with any possible guards? I mean, I wouldn't have a hideout without guards, or prison, or den, hideaway.
That was going to be my question. Now look at Dusty, but are we taking lives in this situation?
I don't think that would be best. There's no need for that. The only reason they're acting the way they are is because of their leadership. If we're able to dismantle that, then they should act a little more, a little less hostile, perhaps.
So we are sparing the lives we can. And I'll look at
Yes.
every single one. Are we on the same page?
Yes, we are sparing as many as we can, except the leader.
Okay. Because I don't want us to have that similar situation happen as last time, getting us into further trouble, and then who knows what happens this time.
Yes.
I mean, I'll just also add to that for those of us who use magic,
It's
It's
kind of
not
hard
really-
to hold back.
yeah, you can't really knock someone out with it. It's death or nothing.
You could choose where you aim it.
It still tends to kill or nothing.
I mean,
Do what you can.
Okay.
have you ever been hit by magic before, Douse?
No, not entirely.
Do
I
you know
mean,
how magic works? At least on a basic
nothing
level,
lethal,
right?
at least. I've been hit by a few things, but a ball of water being thrown at me feels about the same as a rock.
Wait, say that one more time.
Being hit by a ball of water feels about the same as being hit by a rock.
And after that, past the physical form colliding, it's no different.
That's not entirely, no. Not in my experience.
No, all right. I mean, I haven't really been hit by magic either. Thinking, yeah. But
What you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because like
Um,
in battles, Merilla's only been hit by physical objects. There hasn't been anything magic thrown at her, so
Yeah. What level are you guys again right now?
Yeah,
5?
good question.
Level
7?
5.
Cinco.
No, 5. Because 6
Five.
is when I'd get my magical abilities to punch. But
Or
actually, not anymore because it's going to be a warlock.
yeah, 6 is when you get to multi-class as a warlock. Yee. Yeah. Okay, just wanted to make sure. So, okay. Um, alrighty. So what's your plan? Dusk is starting to fade. The moon
I
seems
say-
So how are we
full.
going to be sneaky once we get past any possible guards and whatnot?
I think it would be a good idea to first find a way of entrance.
What's right over
We
there?
could. Well, that's one. Maybe there's another.
They said there weren't any others, and they didn't even have any fire entrances or exits. There's just one way in and one way out, supposedly.
That's just poor architecture.
I don't know.
Yes, if they, had like an inspector come, he'd shut the whole place down. You know what? Maybe that's just what we should do. We should go to the nearest settlement to get an inspector, say, oh my gosh, these jackawares are violating every whatever code.
Building
We'll just
code.
boot them out, and then as they're walking out, we just clear.
How do they do with challenges to their, are they honorable if you challenge their leader to a combat?
I don't think they'd care because we're not a jackalware.
I mean, if we stuff some extra stuff in the front part of Dusty's wrappings, we can pretend he's a jackware.
Oh, we could smoke them out. If there's only one entrance, we have fire.
Oh. But wait, we have to get in there somehow, so we'd have to take our fire all the way through everything into the back. And then, but by that time, we probably would have met Cleo.
Oh, just
But I really like that plan.
I feel like that throws out our stealthy option there.
oh, it
But you see,
would.
we're stealthy on the way in. We just have to make we don't burn ourselves on the way out. It's a fun idea to play with, at least in the brain. I don't know how we could
let's-
actually execute it.
Let's first take a look at the front because we can't see it from here and see what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Sneaky
I think
mode
if we're able to
on.
take down any outer guards and incapacitate them, we may be able to press forward a little bit easier.
Um,
Although if they are able to alert the interior,
Yes.
we may.
Their howling is going to be a problem.
Yes.
They
Oh, does anyone have that
him.
spell that?
That's what I was wondering.
Echo. Does anyone have that spell that Echo cast with the false Hydra?
No, it'd be very
Merilla
helpful to
looks
have
up
a
at the
babysitter.
sky.
No. I
Hmm.
don't sense anything like that.
Right.
Mhm. That means we need to take out any guards either simultaneously or next simultaneously if we can.
Well, I can approach with a lot of animals.
What would that do except for create a lot of noise for them to howl about?
Perhaps, but they
mean,
might
if the
not
animals-
suspect animals.
It would
You
also be a
know?
distraction.
I once heard a story about
You've
some
heard a lot of
men
those stories.
who were traveling over the sea. They got captured by a giant, but the way they got out was that the giant was a shepherd. And so they just kind of like tied themselves underneath the sheep. They just went right out after they got captured. Can we do that? How many sheep can you summon?
8.
I don't know if you could hide underneath a sheep, though, Dusty. You're rather big.
I can turn into a sheep.
Oh,
Oh, really? Not
I
a lot
don't think a
easier.
sheep is what we need here.
I could
There's
make.
not really sheep in this desert.
Yes, I could make an army of camels. Turn into
You
one
could
myself.
also turn into a land manta.
Land mantas as well. I don't actually know what the
they're
CR
not great
on
for
that thing
attacking,
is.
though. I have
It's
it written
one that
down.
I've created. It's a CR of 1/4.
Good.
Oh my gosh, I've got it! I've got it! So what does Chloe want?
Shinies.
Any things?
Exactly.
Okay.
And
From
what
paying
is she
tribute?
doing in order to get shinies?
Sending her people out.
Stealing
Mhm.
it.
And what happens when she sends her people out? They meet other people, correct?
Sure.
So what if we offer some sort of special shiny as a gift? A parlay of some sort
Okay.
for an audience with Chloe.
I have
Douse
a
crosses his hands
name.
and just puts his one hand over his bracelet.
Exactly what Merilla was thinking.
I mean,
Douse?
I'm pretty bad at lying if we're planning on, like,
It's alright, Douse will do it for us.
okay. Are you any good at lying, Douse? Merla's nodding. I'm not asking you. I'm asking him. I don't know how comfortable he is with it. And he like turns towards you.
He's comfortable with it with us.
Like I told you, you guys ask very personal questions that I don't like answering.
And you're still covering your bracelet right now?
Yes.
I don't feel like the questions are that personal, honestly. I'm just kinda,
Maybe
like,
to
looking
you.
Whoa,
down.
whoa, 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 whoa. Wait, Nuri, say that again.
I don't feel like the questions were that personal.
Oh, we're that. Oh, okay. For a second, I thought you said like there are no questions that are too personal. I was about to whip something.
That's the thing about personal questions. They are personal to those who have. Some things are personal to others that may not be to. You had it this morning, okay? Something that happened to you that was very personal, and Merilla stepped on it. It wasn't. It's different for everyone. That's what
The
I'm trying to
questions
say.
weren't asked about it, though. That's totally different.
No, agree, it was totally
All
different.
right.
But
Well,
either
anyway,
way,
Douse, are you
this-
willing to use your strength to benefit the party?
This bracelet doesn't really come off. Is the situation.
Well, she doesn't know that.
we can always just
So-
offer coin.
Are you going to
We
offer my
consider you the
arm?
one modeling how good it will look once she wears it.
We have
I
any
highly doubt that they will
shiny
be happy
metallic
with me
weapons?
walking in wearing it.
I have
Huh.
a ring of jumping.
Anyone have weaponry? Or perhaps armor?
Okay, before anyone
Pointy
else
stuff.
goes any further with that, what makes you think giving her items that will give her benefits against fighting us is a good idea?
Well, see, the whole point is just to have the audience with her, to get into a presence
Don't actually
Yes.
give
with the
it.
least amount of casualties.
Yes.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. If she does somehow get a hold of what we're offering, and it is something that will benefit her and not us, that's not really a good idea.
Yes.
Does anyone have any cursed items that we could use?
Well, I mean, as a player, Douse does.
I
Well,
was literally just thinking that. I was like, wow,
Nuri-
one person I know.
Nuri in game will look at Douse and she's like, well, I think a bracelet that can't come off is pretty cursed.
I do agree.
How would we even get it off?
We're not
then?
going to ask Nuri. She winks because it's too personal.
Here's the thing.
We find. Like,
I
I
think-
highly doubt this will be of benefit to them, but I am concerned about losing my arm is the problem.
What about this?
And she's going to like reach over to you, Douse, and actually hold up. She might not.
Douse, you hear in the back of your mind, no risk, no reward.
Okay, she's not going to touch it, especially in light that we just talked about it might be cursed. But you kind of just like points your finger, and actually, since you guys are close, as she's casting a spell, gosh dang it!
I mean, Douse is not going to make it too easy for you to get too close to it. Like, if he's going to slowly move it
Can't be
away
that
from you
close.
as well.
This is only flavor. Anyway, but she does that. She just kind of get close. She's pointing at it, and she whispers something underneath her breath. And she's casting minor illusion, and she creates the illusion of this very decorative, embellished forearm piece over your bracelet. And
Wait,
you players
wait.
that can speak Elvish recognize that she just whispered.
Elvish. As she casts a spell.
well, what did she say in Elvish?
I honestly have no idea. I just made no sense.
She's speaking Elvish, however. Interesting.
Let's say that she said
The hammer.
appear.
Glamour was a good one, though, Dane.
Thank you.
Up here.
Dang it. I could have added to this to make it look like one of us was holding the bracelet. Like not wearing it, but just holding it.
How
But
much
I
of that
don't
are you
have
able-
minor illusion.
How much of that are you able to produce, Merilla? Of that illusory kind of like gestures to it.
Well,
She looks up at the sky again.
I can't really make anything that's super big.
And she says, she looks back down at you all.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, perhaps to be less conspicuous, if we are going on the route of what would our story be? We had Jackawares come to our town and they said, we'll let you live if you go take your valuables to our camp? Or is it more like we struck a deal with the Jackawares and now we're here to help?
Or maybe it's that we want to strike a deal. riches for a place in the desert.
That makes sense.
Also, where are Valkyries? This is very concerning.
Jeez.
That could also
No,
be our trade, is
Douse.
information on the Valkyries in order to information on it, and then maybe a potential future trade for their freedom if they should be here.
Perhaps. Now, it's really important that you don't touch what I just made appear.
As he's like accident, I like folded my arm as he's like going into it, not realizing.
So when he does that, you all see that like you can see past it. No.
He takes his hand
It's
back.
faint. It looks very faint to you.
Takes his hand back. Okay.
She
How
just
about
like
we
lets
flip
it
a
fade.
coin. One side is we sneak in and either do assassination or smoke them out. The other side is we do trading and go in very obvious. Flip a coin?
We could do both. We could have a secondary group try to follow us in.
I mean, I can turn into all manner of animals as long as I've seen
How
them.
small can you transform, Dusty?
I could turn into a lizard, a mouse, a cat.
Because having a surprise extra person could be very handy.
Yes. I could also turn
You
into a
know-
scorpion, one of my personal favorites, but
I am remembering something. You remember when we were at the village after the Jackaware debacle and all that? How they found Nuri's pets. They were sniffing through the air and like twitching their ears and all that stuff. I don't think we're sneakier than that.
I might be able to sneak past, though they were able
True.
to smell the jackaware on my wrappings.
Also, nobody look in any of their eyes. Just look towards their feet or something.
Oh, excellent point. Very good point, Nuri.
DM knows that is exactly what
Wait, what?
we're not gonna look at their faces. We're looking at like their shoulders
Oh,
or their
DM
feet.
We are not
Avoid the
making
eyes.
eye contact.
Okay.
Okay.
I can. So it sounds like I'm turning into a scorpion hiding in someone's bag. And who is our best negotiator?
Well, Nuri and I have experience with being part of merchant families.
Making
is true.
trades? I think that's perfect.
Yeah, you may want to be a little bit on the more egotistical side. You may want to play that up a little bit to make it seem like you're perhaps susceptible to working in a sort of illegal environment. Might be the best way to put it. These are not the
or
most
maybe-
moral of creatures.
You could also go the not so experienced route in saying that you're easily taken advantage of, might make her want to work with you more.
I'll let you all decide. But once
You
we're
are
ready
the
to go,
yes.
Do we want them to underestimate us or overestimate us? I think is what that boils down into.
If we are using my
Underestimate.
bracelet as wares,
The illusion.
with your mirage, with the illusion, I think we leave the bracelet as is, so they have something that they can inspect that's solid. They can look at my wrist, they can see me wearing it, and then maybe use the illusion elsewhere to make more copies of similar stuff.
Merilla looks up at the sky again.
I think I can only make one at a time. Well, actually,
Yes, but if I have
No,
my
maybe I could
wrist,
make
that's
two.
one, and now we have two. If you make a separate one.
I could make two, perhaps. If I
By the
focused,
way-
I am a powerful sorceress.
I can offer this gold as well. And he like reaches into his pack and pulls out a pouch that has a bunch of gold in it. And he like holds it out to whoever reaches to grab it. We can use this as a little bit more leverage.
We might not actually need to offer too much of our own stuff. The special thing about the Lead On Shipping Company is we actually deal with a lot of items from different realms. So, you know, offering stuff that she can't get here. No matter how far she sends her people, only we have the connections.
That would guarantee us with an out, per se. If things look too difficult for us to do, you say, all right, we will come back later.
And it also
Perhaps.
keeps our stuff. And
I
keeps her
don't
from
know.
getting anything too powerful.
I don't know if they would be willing to let us leave if we don't make a deal with them. After all, they know we know where they are now. And
We could make a deal. A deal can be broken, obviously.
The plan can simply be to not fail, just like it usually is not to die.
Yes. Yes.
Alrighty, so is this your plan?
To barter and trade? I think so.
Yeah.
Hey.
Once
Well-
we're ready to go, I have 2 hours of being a scorpion.
Hey.
So
Well, I
2
will
hours
let
sounds-
you guys continue to fine-tune your plan throughout the week. Because as you guys are concluding your planning session, or Douse, was there something you wanted to say real quick?
Oh no.
He's gonna go and try and find a spot to leave his decanter of endless water with the
With the mantas?
whatchamacallit.
No, bring
Actually,
the
I'll decide
decanter.
on that
You can
over
use
the
it as a
week.
weapon.
Yeah, that's what I'll debate it over the week.
Yeah, you got time to
Literally.
debate. So over the week, you'll be able to finish fine-tuning your plans with each other. But as for now, our hero's plan is to barter and bargain with the Jackalwares to get close to Cleo, their leader. So, with that, we will conclude tonight's session. As next session are the Harbingers campaign, or I guess, sorry, the Shards of Hope are going to be tackling the Jackalware Den. And yeah, and we'll end tonight's session here. I want to thank everyone who came to watch the stream, and we're so grateful for you guys. And we hope you have a happy 4th of July weekend for those of you who are here in America. I know we're all in America, so we love 4th of July. But but honestly, any last notes from the players here? Any thoughts?
Check out the merch page. It's cool.
Yes, check out the merch. We love you guys so much. You're amazing, and we can't wait to see you guys next week. So, with that, goodbye.
Bye.